And now you guys are up there permanently.
All right. Good afternoon, good morning, and good night, fellow captains. We are live and back again for another round of Shooting the Ship. I'm your moderator tonight, Baron Nuts and Bolts, and with me always is my fellow captains. We have Krigor, High Fire, Hotel Kilo Actual, and this week we're joined by two special guests from around the globe. Yes, we went international, folks. It's Yuro and the Rear Admiral Jingles.
What happened to the big title we gave him?
It wasn't in the script, sir.
Supreme and omnipotent overlord of the universe.
So humble.
Just not today.
All right. Well, glad you guys could all join the show tonight. So as normal, we're going to be doing the round.
So apparently it's not picking up the Skype. Let me bump you guys up a ton more here.
All right. Let me know when we're good.
There we go. I have cranked you guys up to maximum.
All right. We are maximum. Okay. Excellent. Well, as normal, guys, we'll be doing our roundtable discussion. We're going through several different topics in and around World of Warships. Before moving into questions, our normal panel sets. Let's say here. You changed stuff on me, Krigor.
I did. Guys, the windows are going to get funky for a minute. Euro is switching out of the Windows 10 version into the regular desktop Skype, so sorry when the panel's just suddenly shifting it out of alignment for a moment. Tech issues, welcome to operating with Windows software.
Woo! All right. So we're going to do our panel, normal list of questions, and then we're going to have some guys from chat. And so if there's any questions you guys want to know from these captains, don't hesitate to ask, and we will get to as many of them as we can tonight. All right. So,
hello.
Hey, we have a Euro.
Hey, we have
finally.
Finally.
Yep.
All right.
He got early release from the Gulag, guys, just for this one. So he's on a furlough, so treat him right.
No, I blame Windows 10 for this.
We all do.
It's legitimate. Yeah.
Oh, it sucks.
Oh, you don't want to know the problems we've been having with Windows 10 today. I was telling the guys earlier, we may get onto this conversation later on, but I feel your pain. Trust me, I really feel your pain.
All right, guys.
Where were we? Yeah.
All right, we're just getting introductions. We're going to hop actually into the first question here for tonight. So we wanted to know, guys, what are your thoughts on the Buffalo and the CA ships so far?
I'm a cruiser monkey. I love it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I can't. I have to admit, I'm a bit of a glutton for punishment because I do like the American cruisers, mostly for historical reasons. Because I mean, most of the ships that we have in the game are the ones that are looking to appear fought in the Guadalcanal campaign. 6 month long. Wow, my webcam keeps. I must apologise in advance for everybody on Twitch, by the way. My webcam keeps losing focus, keeps trying to zoom in and out. Because I'm using Windows 10, the only option it gives me is to remove the device. Settings? No. You can either, that's it, just live with it or remove it. No other options. Windows 10. Anyway, I have to admit, I kind of quite like them. Although I appreciate not so much as the British cruisers, but there's a kind of a high skill cap. There's a relatively high skill ceiling on them. You're not going to, how can I put this? They're not the kind of ship that you could argue that of most of the cruisers in the game, with the exception of maybe the Hindenburg. But it's difficult to carry in one of these cruisers. They're heavily reliant on either the rest of your team spotting targets for you, or you're going to be spending a lot of time hugging islands, making them your waifu, and basically only taking shots as and when it's safe to do. And they work like that. They do work like that. But that's not the kind of play style that everybody likes. If you like charging forward and making the enemy team your bitch, you probably want to stay away from the American light cruisers.
Yeah.
So you're saying playing like the British cruisers?
Yeah, very much so. Although I think they're a bit easier to play than the British cruisers. You've got some... In some cases, you have more options. And primarily, I'm talking about the ammunition here because they have high explosive. But they don't have the smoke screen. So where a British cruiser can get away with being a little more aggressive because they've got that instant island that they can deploy, you don't have that with the Americans. So you're going to be spending a lot of time making all of the islands your waifus and hugging them like body pillows.
I don't remember which one of your videos it was, but it's something I thought it was hilarious and stuck with me. Is the British cruisers come with island in a can because it looks like a little smoke can on there. You made the comment once, and it's always stuck with me. So anytime somebody says, "Well, how do you exactly play British cruisers?" I'm like, "You got to be careful. You only got so many charges of island in a can to use when you're out there."
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, kind of going off of what Jingle said, I think they're a lot of fun, and like the British cruisers, because I am starting that grind now. They have that they have that same skill cap. The HE certainly makes them a lot more versatile, but at least with the American cruisers, specifically the Buffalo, the heavy cruiser line, and I guess kind of sort of not really ish the Cleveland. Just I guess the problem is in reverse. You actually have some semblance of belt armor, where
Yeah.
of course the Cleveland. The only thing you have to worry about is staying broadside, and then you won't get citadeled, so it's fine. No, just kidding. That's not actually true. But, yeah, I don't know. I've really been fond of them.
I've always liked the American heavy cruisers as well. Obviously, referring to the Buffalo here, and it's got a lot of guns. I mean, it's got a lot of guns. But that's the thing. Heavy cruisers. We're not talking battle cruisers here. I mean, they're heavy cruisers, and that refers to their armament, not their armor. They've got a bit more armor than the British cruisers, definitely. There are some destroyers that have more armor than the British cruisers. Yes, Khabarovsk, we're looking at you. But you still have to be careful in them. They've got a lot of firepower, although it's not there yet, is it? I was going to talk about the Worcester there for a moment, which how many consumables? All of them, I think, other than smokescreen. Trying to activate the consumables on that thing, you need 2 hands.
Yeah.
You need to start shortcutting that one.
Yeah, and you can't reassign them as well. It has this kind of.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I realize we're getting ahead of the question here, but you can't There's just this arbitrary selection of where your damage control, your firefighting, and all that stuff is. So you're used to hitting a certain key on every other ship in the game to activate radar, and you'll do it by default without thinking on this thing, and I guarantee you'll activate your damage control.
I am making the request now for your Euro after I saw all the freaking consumables on that thing. I want to see a how-to Worcester because I'm pretty sure some kind of anime guy with like 9 different tentacle arms is going to come out on how to manage all of your consumables.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I played the Worcester and everything. It's so many times I actually miss like the consumables. I want to repair. I ended up press radar and everything. I don't know. I just think it has too much. Yeah, but it's been going on since the Cleveland, so I guess that's the direction Wargaming's gonna take.
Yeah, I have not gotten a chance to play the Buffalo yet. I know that's shocking because I'm a huge U.S. cruiser monkey. I love it. It's probably my favorite line. Well, it's right there with the British line. But with all of them out right now, all I ask is, guys, if you pick that line up, please, for the love of God, they're not battleships. Stop running open water and charging the enemy. You are not a Hindenburg. You are not a Moskva. You do not have strong Russian armor on the front. You will get lol penned by DDs if you're stupid enough to charge some of those.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just looking at chat. We require a how to Asashio vid, Euro. Euro, are you up there?
Yeah.
How to
Asashio,
Asashio.
really?
Yes,
You
definitely.
you guys really want me to make an Asashio video? Huh?
Oh, totally.
I call that thing the ass pistachio
I
because you have to be nuts to freaking buy that thing.
Or I have a Sashi on my pod, but I have no interest on playing it. Honestly,
Good for you, sir.
yeah. Considering that lately it's Cleveland's everywhere. I mean, you only get like 2
Yeah,
battleships
that's
on each team. Yeah, it's
that's a good
painful to
point,
play
actually.
destroyers. Not a great time. Got to be
Oh.
honest. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought that as a man of integrity and dignity, you refused on moral grounds to play the Asashio because it's a dirty scumbag ship. But no, you're not playing the Asashio purely and simply because there aren't enough targets available for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
That's the main reason. Yeah.
You know, playing destroyers right now, it's just cranking up the difficulty, right? You're playing on like veteran mode in Call of Duty. You know, you're just cranking up the difficulty.
Have you noticed how every time there's a patch for World of Warships, whether it directly or indirectly, there's basically a whole bunch of destroyer nerfs. They changed the run shift times. It's a destroyer nerf. They introduce radar. It's a destroyer nerf. They give radar to everybody. It's a destroyer nerf. German battleships, hydroacoustic search, destroyer nerf.
Secondaries.
Yeah. Do you remember what it used to be like playing destroyers back in the closed beta?
Oh, it's just a giant troll fest.
Oh yeah, I could guarantee if there was a carrier in play, I was going to get you. It didn't matter how long it was going to take. It didn't matter what destroyer I was in. I could be in a Clemson. I was going to get you. Those days are long gone.
I heard when they announced Warships beta was opening up from somebody that played with tanks with you way back in the day, that you were probably one of the most excited people to hear that news. Coming from a naval background, you're like, I'm done. War Thunder who? What?
Yeah.
Tanks? I'm not sure what that is anymore. Where's my captain? I got my hat on.
Yeah. And then I heard the news that it was going to be Japanese and Americans first, and I was very sad. I mean, I understood. If you're talking about great naval battles of World War II, well, the Battle of the Atlantic lasted 4 years, but it was corvettes and frigates against U-boats.
Yeah.
Not something that you're ever going to see in World of Warships. If you want your big surface action battles, you had to look at the Pacific, and that was America versus Japan. So, I wasn't happy, but I understood.
But what did Jingles do? Go to the World of Warship studio with all World of Tanks attire.
And the flag.
Yeah.
Don't forget the flag.
Colonizing St. Petersburg one painting at a time.
Yeah.
I like Keater's comment. It rained. Destroyer nerf. No wipers.
Well, with some of the up-and-coming additions to the U.S. light cruisers, do you think Wargaming will permanently fix the too many BBs in queue problem?
Too many. I don't think there were enough BBs in the queue. Yuro knows what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
You
Exactly.
dirty Asashio player.
So this was my question. More so like before this, Wargaming went kind of, on the record saying that they think there's too many battleships in queue in comparison to cruisers, destroyers, and frankly, aircraft carriers. Do you think this is a good fix for it, or no?
Here's the thing about battleships. You may disagree, but I suspect we're probably all of the same mind here. If you've got a ship that's got an ass ton of armor and a huge health pool, that allows you to get away with mistakes that would prove fatal if you were in a light cruiser or a destroyer. It's a bit like people playing Russian heavy tanks in World of Tanks. Shit ton of armor, load of health. All right, you take a hit, you make a mistake, you take a couple of hits, you just back up, you're fine. You've lost a third of your health. Pretty bad, but it's not the end of the world. If you've been in the same tier tank destroyer,
Yeah.
if you've been in the same tier tank destroyer and made that mistake, you'd be dead. If you've been in the same tier light tank and made that mistake, you'd be dead. You can get away with stuff in a battleship that will probably not be fatal. But if you pull the same stupid, dumb shit in a destroyer or a cruiser, you're going to be going back to the port.
Yeah.
So they're easier to play. They're more forgiving. I'm not saying they're easier to do well in. Definitely not. But it's understandable that people, and you got the whole romance of the battleship thing as well. I mean, when people think about great naval battles, they don't automatically think of Fletcher class destroyers. They probably should. We're looking at the Battle of what was it? Task Force 3, Taffy 3, Last Stand of the Tin Can Sailors.
Yep.
I can't wait for that to appear in games and operation. Fletchers against Musashis and Yamatos. Oh yeah, definitely. But it's the battleship. Everybody wants to play the battleship. Same way when you play World of Tanks, everybody wants to drive a Tiger because that's what everybody grew up watching in the war movies. So it's understandable that you do see a lot of people playing battleships. I think it's probably the wrong class of ship to play if you want to really learn how to play the game. For that, I would recommend cruisers, which will give you a bit more of an insight into things like island cover and positioning and so on and so on. Does that mean there are too many battleship players? Probably. How are they going to fix that? Without nerfing battleships and making them unfun to play? I really don't know.
I think maybe by just introducing more threats like IFHE spamming like cruisers. Maybe. It's certainly
or-
not a permanent option.
Or other battleships that can do 200,000 damage by just firing high explosive.
Meanwhile,
No, no. Wargaming, no.
I fully
Okay.
support more conquerors in game. I'm sure Senpai in chat is currently flipping off his screen, but I fully support more
and
boats
then
like the
the
Conqueror.
Izumo just sweeps in the corner. and we like receive buff for his mythical deck. I think just Izumo is like the only battleship that is being left out for quite a while. Got focused so hard. It's the ship everyone loves to hate. Is the Izumo.
You got that right. Yeah, you're all right though. I mean, we're talking about new American cruisers. We're rebalancing the heavy cruisers, putting new lines in. Some Commonwealth destroyers coming out with new modes here, new modes there. You got the Asashio, deep water torpedoes, this, that, and the other. Izumo? When was the last time anybody heard anything in any patch note for World of Warships where the Izumo was mentioned?
I think they
I can't remember.
hope people forget it exists.
Yeah, I know a lot of people would rather forget it existed, but it's not as bad as it used to be.
The old Freezemo where you just free XP past it.
I don't know. I free XP past mine. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Not ashamed to admit that at all.
I grinded through mine and it was painful.
There you go.
Really?
There's your next 30-second video. How to Izumo. It's just showing people how to pull it up, select
That's pretty
it,
good.
select the free XP. Ta-da! Boom. Then people
Select
can't
free
say you
XP.
haven't done a free how-to video in a long time because you 30-second one pop it out.
We just say to people to get the Musashi instead.
Yeah.
It's better. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The
like-
discount Yamato.
Don't get
Here's
the
the thing,
Yamato,
though.
just get the Musashi.
Here's the thing, though. I actually quite like the Nelson.
Yes.
Yeah, the Izumo, nope. And I don't. I don't see the Nelson's heel.
That was
But-
a delay for a second there.
Right?
Yeah.
So you like
Oh,
the
yeah.
Nelson?
I do. I didn't think I would. Yeah, I was saying I quite like that. Yeah, well, okay. We'll recap. I like the Nelson, and it's got the same turret configuration as the Izumo, and the same not particularly great armor as the Izumo. I'm sure the Izumo wishes it had the Nelson's heel, but I don't mind playing the Nelson. Now, is that because the Nelson's only tier 7? And the matchmaking is obviously very, very different? I don't know, maybe, but I didn't think I was going to like the Nelson because of the gun configuration. And yet, I've actually quite enjoyed playing it. And yet, I don't enjoy playing the Izumo, and I'm not entirely sure why.
Just the shell characteristics, the turns. Those 410s just act different than the ones that are on the Nelson. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, all 3 turns on the Nelson are pointing the same direction. The Izumo's got that one funky one that's on the back that's going everywhere else.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, you can have all 3 of those turrets. In fact, the clearance on the rear turret on the Nelson is actually pretty good. And I think, I'm struggling to remember now, but it can actually turn pointing ahead. It can clear the second turret. It doesn't have to. If you're shooting at a target, if you're in the Izumo and you're shooting at a target 15 degrees off your starboard bow, and then you have to start shooting at a target 15 degrees off your port bow, that turret's got to go all the way around. Doesn't have to
Yeah.
do that in the Nelson.
You lose
Yeah.
quite a few barrels that way, and that's a huge DPS drop.
Right. I think that's the big handicap with the Izumo. I think also just general power creep has really hurt the Izumo pretty hard. Where at tier 7, the Nelson can really, compete on its own.
Yeah.
I think that's a big portion of it as well.
All right. Well, how did you guys ranked season go for those who participated in this last round?
Excellent. I had a very, very good surprise. Last discussion that we had, I mentioned I was going to do the Radar Minotaur, and I actually did it this
Still
time
hurts
around. I
my
did
soul, even though it worked well.
Yeah, I did the Edinburgh with the Radar, which I only did like 12 rounds and got it through that. And then 141 rounds with 61% win ratio in the Minotaur. Completely surprised me, but
Oh, that's good.
it was fun.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is the first time I have ever heard anybody use the word fun in connection with the latest season of ranked battles without prefixing it with the word no.
Or following with Kappa.
Rank.
With Kappa, right?
Euro, did you do any rank this season?
No, I stopped playing rank altogether. I just don't think it's worth my time, and I don't think it's worth my time.
You end up with a heart condition from it?
Yeah, one thing, yeah, and secondly, I just don't think that my time and my schedule and everything. I don't really play that often, and when I play, it doesn't usually last that long. Not rank long. I don't. Yeah, I'm just not prepared to waste like 100 games just to get rank 1, and yeah, that's about it. I had other things to do.
It takes a lot of time. It does.
Yeah. I
Growing
made it.
bamboo shoots under your fingernails, or
Yeah.
getting waterboarded.
I made it to rank 10, surprisingly with destroyers. As soon as I grabbed out the Lo Yang, and I don't normally destroy her, I just went in angry in a match with the Lo Yang, said, screw it, I'm going to play it like an overly aggressive cruiser and see what happens. It just started smashing and carrying games. I'm like, I don't DD, this shouldn't happen. And then I don't have a tier 10 DD yet. We're about to unlock the Fletcher. Went into that one, and it was like running down a line of road cones that are just a little bit too long. So about every 3 seconds, you just get smacked in the pillars, like, and there we are back to 10, and then we are back to 10, and then we are back to 10. And after about 30 times, I went, and we're done with ranked.
Yeah, I kind of had a similar experience. I started at 17, got to 10, went on, it was like a 14-game tear, got pretty much there. Spent one extra day getting to there. I think I went 3-1 that next day. Got to 10. Did 10 battles at rank 10. Saved my star in every single one of them and said, F this. My strongest ship, the Hindenburg, cannot get me through this. I am just done with ranked. It's not worth the stress. No, I was just saving. I was saving my star every single time, but I couldn't. I was doing 120,000+ damage every game, and
I figured the Hindenburg can carry and not lose a star. But if you're not losing stars, you're not gaining them.
And Zoop, no Zoop for you, talked about this in a video. He said if you want to save your star consistently in a loss, play the Hindenburg. It ups your chances of saving a star 40% or something like that. You will save your star in the Hindenburg because it is the most versatile of all the tier 10 cruisers, has the best HE. I mean, apart from the heavy HE of the Des Moines, or, well, the Conqueror, the Super Zhao, I mean. And then
don't be hating.
The AP power when you get a full broadside target, it's like you're in a battleship. I mean, you're landing 12,000-15,000 damage salvos every 8 seconds.
I still stand by my statement, even though there'll probably be a lot of pitchforks in chat and maybe a few in here. The Hindenburg needs to be relooked at. I think that ship is just ridiculous for what it can do and what it can hit and take hits. I mean,
spam it with HE and a Hindenburg is done. All you have to do is spam it with HE.
Yeah,
Zhao is a direct counter.
There was a few times it would have like 4 Hindenburgs per side. I'm like, what is going on here, dude? Yeah.
I really hope they don't mess with the Hindenburg because I only unlocked it yesterday.
I mean, Wargaming said that Hindenburg was meant to be an AP focused ship, since the first release. And look at how it performs these days with its HE. I don't know.
Let me look at the stats from a game that I had last night on stream. I did 200,000 damage, and let me just look at my raw fire damage here real quick. Fire damage. Where are you?
He has a Excel spreadsheet log he keeps for these things, just so when his waifu cuddling just doesn't do it, he just sits there and just reads his spreadsheet quietly to himself with a candle lit at night. It's kind of hot.
Never mind, that's not the right one. Oh. But that's not the right game. I don't have it anymore. I forgot. But I did 80. I got 80,000 fire damage in one game in the Hindenburg against a Yamato and a Musashi. Yeah, I do agree the HE, the fire chance could use a bit of a nerf, but I think the Hindenburg's fine because it does have a very direct counter, and that's high explosive spam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Like I said, I only unlocked mine on Sunday, so please don't nerf it. I haven't experienced the joy of the Hindi yet.
Yeah.
Although I didn't play ship, Jingles. She's a beautiful ship.
I mean, I didn't play ranked at all. I spend a lot of time during the day just watching Twitch. or I have it running on the second monitor while I'm busy, doing whatever work on the main monitor. And the two channels that I watch almost every day are Flamu and Flambass. Both very, very good players. Flambass loves his Minotaur, but more known for playing destroyers, certainly in competitive. And Flamu, pretty good at everything. And I was watching them play ranked. And if I needed any further encouragement to not dip my toe into that toxic pool of dishwater, it was just watching the experience of these two guys day in, day out, struggling to even save a stock. Because that's the problem, or at least it seemed to me, obviously speaking as an outsider, just as an observer, because I never played. The problem with ranked this season seemed to be that once you reached a certain rank, the second it started to look like your team was going to lose, nobody was playing to win anymore. They were all
playing to
just
save the
playing to save the star.
Yeah.
Teamwork just went. As soon as you started to lose, you were pretty much guaranteed to lose, because even if there had been any kind of team cohesion there in the first place, it was gone from that point. It just became me. I'm saving my star. Screw you.
I would love to see that star save removed next season.
Yeah.
So you have to play for the win. No playing to run away. No playing to throw a bunch of fire and go hide in the corner. You got to keep pushing.
Well, Daikatana just asked, should Wargaming rework how stars are rewarded for ranked based on overall performance rather than damage dealt?
I think
they need to move.
And you're number one on your team, give them 2 stars. And if you lose, everybody loses a star. So you'll try harder to carry your team. You may a little bit more toxicity, but it's ranked. You're always going to get it. You can't get rid of it. But I think it'll give the other team a reason to not give up and try and reverse tank everything to try and save to be the last guy standing.
I think the main problem was that it was at tier 10, you have so many BBs that can do a lot of damage and so many cruisers that can do a lot of fire damage with the destroyers. They just weren't there. I mean, if you had destroyers capping flags and whatnot, they would actually not lose their star if you got lost because of the amount of cap points they would gotten back. And when I was doing the Radar Minotaur, if I got a cap point, I was like, because it was like additional points, just maybe I can save my last star on it. But no, once I had switched my mentality of trying not to lose that star to what can I do for my entire team with the Radar Minotaur, and as soon as I changed that mentality, something clicked, and it was just like win on win, because now I'm not looking at trying to save my ass. I'm just trying to save the team.
Right.
Yeah.
I think one thing that could make it better, and what you're describing, Krigor, with if you get top of the winning team, you get 2 stars. Wargaming should move to, in my opinion, more of a ranking system that is ELO based. So similar to what Rainbow Six Siege has, where even if you lose, you can still, if you have a monster game, you're still going to gain points. It might only be 3 or 4 points towards your next rank, but you can, based on how badly you did, you would lose more points. I think that would be a good fix for it. Also getting rid then of irrevocables. The only problem I see with this is Wargaming would really have to look at what Flamu and you, Jingles, had discussed in a video, is really looking at how XP is awarded and move away from the damage-focused XP reward system, which I know that Wargaming's working on with the new ribbons being added. It's a step in the right direction, but before you move to that ELO type system, you really would have to look at fixing that first.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, a couple other questions we had. Jingles, how do you keep up with all the submission reviews that you receive and the crazy update schedule you have? How do you do it, man?
I don't.
Yeah, it's insane. The amount of videos you get out to YouTube is.
I mean, trying to keep up with all this. Let me just take a quick look, live and direct, and tell you exactly how many unread emails I currently have. Oh, it's not too bad. 1,622.
Not too bad.
I think 2 of them may actually be from me. So
okay.
The best part is how it unfocused as you said it, like the camera was passing out, hearing the number.
Yeah, your camera went unfocused.
Eyes were crossing.
Probably just as well. Yeah, no, that was my head going out of focus. The camera was fine. Yeah, I cannot possibly. So I mean, I do the best I can, but I'll spend about 2 hours a day just going through emails. It's a lot easier in World of Tanks than in World of Warships. For one thing, most World of Tanks battles only tend to last about 8 minutes. At the most, they're going to last 15. Also, you've got a lot more control over the replay in World of Tanks. I mean, the fact that World of Warships, even when it was in beta, shipped with a replay system was amazing. It's still unofficially supported. I'd like them to, at the very least, fix it so that the battle doesn't exit to desktop the second the match is over.
Yeah.
Because that can really mess your screen recording software up. And then you've got to go through the entire 20 minutes recording the battle again. Just saying, Wargaming, in case you're listening.
Wink, wink, nudge.
Yeah. But look through. Thing is, I enjoy watching World of Warships games more than I enjoy watching World of Tanks games, because I've been doing World of Tanks videos for a long time, and I've pretty much seen. There's very little that happens in a World of Tanks battle that is innovative or surprising to me anymore. I still appreciate watching a well-played tank, purely on the basis of appreciating, skill when you see it and you can recognize it. But there's still stuff happening in World of Warships that surprises me on a daily basis, watching live streams and looking at the replays. So I do like it. It's good that I do actually like my job. I love watching the battles, and I love making the videos. Making the videos, however, camera's going again. There we go. Yeah. So that was kind of what set me apart back in the early days. The guys that I was watching on YouTube, guys like Quick Baby, High Fly 15, who's no longer doing it, I would eagerly look forward every week to their video. But it was every week, or sometimes every 2 weeks. And when I started, ridiculously enthusiastic, when I actually started, I was putting 2 or 3 videos up every day. And for years, it was every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's only in the last 2 years or so where I've actually started taking Sundays off. Although technically, I do actually work on a Sunday because then I'm doing Mingles by Jingles. Okay, so I take Saturday off. Saturday is the day when I don't have to produce a video. And yeah, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of effort. But I enjoy doing it. And on those occasions when I say, you know what, I've had enough, I'm taking a break. So I'll be back in 2 weeks. I'll guarantee you within 3 days there'll be a video because I just get bored. And I'll make a video for fun. So yeah, it's nice work if you can get it. There are far too many people stuck into soul-destroying, boring jobs that they hate, working for bosses that they can't stand, with co-workers they despise, and I don't have to put up with any of that. So I can't complain, really, can I?
Yeah, good job on that recent video about the carrier changes to it, right?
Oh,
yeah.
You know, that is
best
quite
troll
possibly-
EU.
That's quite possibly the most thumbs down video I've done in years. Yeah, if you read the comments, they were all generally quite positive. It was like, "Oh, you a troll, you this,
Jingles
that.
trolled us all. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's 2018 and I've just been rickrolled. Oh my god," so on and so on. But there were a lot of people that watched that video, didn't comment, and just hit that downvote button.
See, I had to hit the thumbs up on it. As soon as I watched, I'm like, yeah, sweet. Gonna get the input of the new carrier, because High Fire and Vulgar and B10, nobody would tell me anything to let Jingles do it. What the? Oh. Thumbs up in that one. Well played, sir. I had a golf clap in the screen for it.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Alrighty. Yuro, got one just for you. With all the crazy production value you put into your YouTube videos, because, I mean, all the editing, the slides, the sound, the timing, the music. Watching Baron and some of them do their YouTube editing, I know the level of work it takes into it. What's the average time it takes for you to do, like, one of your how-to videos once you've got all the footage and everything there? And then where do you come up with your themes for it? Because I got to be honest, my first World of Warships video I ever watched, he's now one of my mods. It was somebody that popped in my channel. I put newbie trying to learn. I picked up a DD and he goes, "You need to park that thing until you go watch How to Clemson. Do not touch another boat. Go watch it now." Thank you, Stamps NA.
Yeah. All right, yeah, people have been asking the same thing too. Like, you, how do you make your videos? Like, how's your production? And people, and I was like, how can I actually answer this, because my production usually takes between 2 or 3 months. If I had nothing to do, I had to gather all the footage and everything. But there is always that one time where I actually like everything is there, everything is available. I have all the footage and everything. I could do the videos in 2 3 days. Like it's just so unpredictable even for me. I mean, it's also related to my to my real life occasion too. If I had the time, I'll do a video. I'll put an entire day to make a video, just to make one video happens, and then get it uploaded by the night. Leave it to sleep. See the comments in the morning. Yeah, but most of the time I use the time. I waste. Yeah, waste isn't such a good word. Yeah, I use most of the time to look at other videos, looking at reference videos, and then I took such a long time just to get the music right, the music that people likes, that it will be memorable. I think my recent Conqueror video nails it pretty well.
Hot dogu.
Hot dogu, yeah. I mean, people love it, yeah, and that's the kind of reaction that I would expect every time I upload a video.
Yeah.
It has to be memorable, yeah. So yeah, people don't really mind me not really uploading on a constant schedule, like a week or so every
Yeah.
week. They don't really mind with that. I honestly think I could have done the videos faster, but yeah, sometimes I just can't do it. Yeah, like I said, this is the YouTube everything. Yeah, my YouTube channel is my secondary, so yeah, I still need to do a lot of things in real life, and then I could go back to my YouTube, pretty much. Yeah.
I think people they're quite happy with your upload schedule because they know that when they see one of your videos, it's going to be worth it.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Absolutely.
Quality
Yeah,
over quantity.
Yeah. The
your
exact
time.
opposite of what I do.
But Jingles, you're crap, and we love you for it.
Yeah. well,
Yeah, we love you, Jingles. I mean, I love you too. I started
Oh.
worships from your videos, yeah, yours, and then.
Oh,
who
I'm
else?
so
Other
very
YouTubers.
sorry.
Yeah, IJs and everything. No, not
Actually, a
not
few
this.
people in chat also said that as well. They didn't even look at World Warships till they came across the Jingles video and went,
Yep.
What the
Same
hell
here.
is that? I gotta go check that game out.
Well, heck, Cater told me, he goes, "Hey, I'm playing this game, World Warships. You got to check it out." And I'm like, "I don't know." He goes, "Well, watch this video. This is Jingles. You got to check this out."
Was
And I
that
was like-
was that my horrendously out of date now how to not suck? Because that's usually the one
maybe.
that people say.
Yeah.
You know,
It
the
was-
one that sticks with me is, I believe it was your Bismarck one, where the whole first half of the video is just the whole historical event around
Yeah.
the battle and the Belfast, and that was my first introduction to Jingles video, and I would love, even if it ends up on like the Euro schedule where it's 2 or 3 months because the level of production that goes into it, I just watch those damn things all day long. Those are awesome.
I really do. I actually, with the introduction of the new American cruiser arc, rich history involved with a lot of those ships. A lot of them fought in the 6-month-long Guadalcanal naval battle campaign, where they lost. Because the myth is that the Marines were abandoned by the Navy, and I'm not trying to put down what the Marines did ashore in Guadalcanal. I mean, they wrote pages of history there themselves, but the Navy actually lost 5 sailors for every 3 Marines lost ashore. The U.S. Navy learned some hard lessons during those battles.
So is that a
and it
spoiler
learned
that
quickly.
we're going to get videos
But
on that?
learn them well.
There
But
will
learn them
be.
very well.
Yeah, they will, because the ships are all coming into the game. Some of them are there already. But yeah, I do love doing that kind of video, and there will definitely be more coming.
Woohoo! You heard it here first, folks.
All right.
Whoop, whoop.
Just got your trailer, guys.
Jingles, speaking of your videos, replays, and such like that, all coming to you and currently having, what was it, 1,200 emails sitting in your inbox? Something like that?
1,600.
1,600? Okay.
It's gone
Wow.
up.
Hey, look,
It's
the
gone
camera
up
went
by
out of
300
focus
in the
again.
past 15 minutes.
There are another 12 since I opened.
Oh.
Oh, man.
So what are some things, everybody wants to get featured in a Jingles video, myself included. What do you look for in
His
replays
email
that are
is-
sent to you when you're deciding on what to use? Like what should people look for in a battle before they say, "Oh my God, Jingles, look at this video"? Yeah.
I dodged a torpedo.
Yeah. How to get your email noticed? How to get your battle noticed? It's all in the title. If I'm looking at 50 titles, 50 email titles per page, and this one just says World of Warships replay, but the title of the next one is, for example, World of Warships replay: the elusive, pay fast, ship-on-ship psychological warfare. I might be interested in actually clicking that and seeing what the hell he's talking about.
It's got a catchy title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me scroll down a little further. USS Buffalo gameplay, very close call. Well, the Warships replay, Richelieu in Tier 10 battle, 12 citadels, 230,000 damage, 2.9 thousand base experience. That sounds like it might be worth watching. But replay King George V doesn't really spark, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Branding, people, branding.
So lesson here is stay out of the generic titles on it.
Yeah.
Be
Give him a
something-
reason to want to see it.
right.
You don't have to be particularly good. I mean, I like showing replays off where people are particularly good, but if something funny happens, that can be good enough. If if there's an example of good teamwork going on, it's not necessarily you that has to be the person who's the star of the video. You could, for example, I mean, I've had videos sent in or battles sent in World of Tanks where, for example, a guy was on his last legs. And in fact, it even happened to me, and I showcased it in one of the videos that I did of my own battles where I forget which tank I was in, but it didn't have a huge amount of armor and it had a few scraps of hit points left. And a friendly heavy, I think it might have been an E75 or these are tanks, by the way, for anybody who's big angry houses with guns, okay, tanks. Came forward and
Angry
shielded me.
houses with guns.
Yeah, that's what tanks are, big angry houses with guns. And a teammate came forward and basically covered me, angled his armor to take the hits for me so I could fall back, reload, and get into cover. And it was deliberate. Sometimes it's just a teammate trying to get to the kill before you do and blocking your shot. But this guy saw that I was in trouble, moved his tank forward, took the hits for me, and kept me in the game. Kept my gun in the game, more importantly. And you see that, you used to see it, very rarely, before the smoke firing nerf, where destroyers would use their smoke screens unselfishly. They would use them to cover their battleships and their cruisers.
Yeah.
And you almost never saw it. And it was so unusual that it was worth putting into a video on those rare occasions when it did actually happen in a battle. It's a little bit more common now, but certainly a year ago, that would have been the sort of thing that would have gotten your video featured on YouTube. Look at this destroyer. What a hero teammate. So there's all kinds of things that can get you noticed. First and foremost, describe what happens in the title, because that goes a long way. When I'm scrolling through 1,632 emails that are sitting unread. Yeah. So there you go. Good question. Thanks.
Hey, Jingles, real quick. Between you and Yuro, Jingles, did you actually get outside and check out like Moscow when first or second trip or through Russia? Did you actually get to go around Moscow?
Not me, but I believe Euro might have.
Oh,
So-
yeah.
So Yuro,
No way.
that's the question
Okay.
I was going to have for you, Euro. Is that many of us community contributors went through Moscow, but we actually didn't leave the airport. So, is there anything that's pretty cool there that you have that you didn't share on Twitter or anything on Moscow? How'd you like it?
Yeah, it's funny that I actually see more of Moscow than it is on St. Petersburg. That's by losing my passport. Yeah, I know everyone already heard that. Yeah, but yeah, I know. I think that it's a beautiful city. Yeah, I think everything is there is like this is the true Russian. Like this is like the main highlights of Russia. It's beautiful. Yeah, I like being there. I like staying there for like 3 days. Yeah, actually went on a private tours just because. Oh well, I was still waiting for news, and while I'm here, why not just visit the Red Square? and that's what I did. It's quite fun actually.
Is it true that you can't take pictures down there in the subway areas, both in Moscow and St. Petersburg area? Did you actually go down into the subway?
Oh yeah,
trains?
actually, went with my 542 to the subway, and it's actually fine to take pictures. I don't know why wouldn't you? I think that's the main tourist attraction, like
I think
each of the subway station. Yeah.
Yeah, didn't they have like some like immaculate designs and stuff, but they're really
Yeah.
big and stuff, and that's
Exactly.
what
It's like an art gallery. Every station is different. Yeah. I only went to one. I only went to three stations and the connecting passageway, and even that's really highly decorated. I mean, if you went to Moscow, you should check it one day. Like it's a different kind of it's a different attraction by itself.
I just thought it was like something about like it's illegal to take pictures while you're in the subway of the
I'm pretty sure you are illegal to take pictures if you are inside the Kremlin, but everything else is fine. Yeah, it was a tourist place anyway. Yeah.
Anything oddball or weird that happened there in Moscow while you're touring the cities?
Other than his gumball rally between St. Petersburg and Moscow.
Oh, actually, I went back using what is it, the fast what is it?
The train?
The train, yeah. What is the
But you couldn't get onto the train to go to Moscow, could you? Because you need a passport for that, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah, I need a passport to just get on the train. That's why I had to take a car. And unfortunately, as you guys probably already heard, yeah, I took the wrong car. I paid $100 for my trip, and honestly, after I experienced everything, I just
It was a rally race to get you down to Moscow as quickly as possible.
I don't know if you've noticed, but obviously I'm from the UK and I flew to St. Petersburg. Really? Yeah.
Okay.
And it's further from St. Petersburg to Moscow than it is from St. Petersburg to London. And he did that in a car.
Honestly, thinking about it, I took the wrong taxi. I took the wrong car, and the driver basically says yes to Moscow, even though, yeah, I just approached him. But what I'm saying is that I went to Moscow with the driver without any preparation from the driver itself. It's quite a feat, for Russian drivers. I mean, kudos to him for actually agreed to take me to Moscow and pay such a hefty price.
It's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I get into a taxi in Portsmouth, and I like, or in Heathrow, because getting from Heathrow to Portsmouth is an absolute nightmare on public transport. Sometimes it's too late, and I don't want to be standing in a queue for a bus to get a transfer to a train station. Screw it, taxi. And you have to do a bit of negotiating with the taxi drivers to drive 80 miles. Right?
Just 80 miles.
You walked up to a Russian taxi driver in St. Petersburg and said, Moscow, it's 2,000 miles. And he was like, yeah, sure. Hop in. It's no problem. It's Russia.
He's like, I got nothing else going on tonight. Let's do this.
So the main reason why you went to Moscow is because the U.S. Embassy in St. Petersburg was shut down, correct?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
so, has to go to Moscow.
Jingles Volgar is jabbing back at you, and he wanted to point out that those people from New York had to pass over St. Petersburg to Moscow and then back. But I think he forgets the gentleman on the panel here with this high fire had to go from the opposite coast to get over there.
Yeah, that's a five to it's about 6 to. It's a lot of travel time from West Coast to East, and then sitting there in that terminal and then going. It's for us. It was an entire day of travel.
Was it JFK? We got your transfer.
Yeah.
And was it Terminal 2?
Oh God, that line goes all the way around the terminal just to get in checked in for security.
Oh, JFK Terminal 2 is like a throwback to the 1960s. That place is horrible.
Yeah, I've heard it's right up there with Utah's E-Gates of Hell, they call it.
Oh.
When the announcements, you see the person talking, and then you can time it. It takes 10 minutes before it comes across because the announcements are back queued 10 to 15 minutes at any given time. And by then you're like, that's my plane. They're done boarding. And you're sprinting across the gate just to get into another line and hope you can get through.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it was easy for me. London's 3.5 hours from St. Petersburg, so it's a direct flight. So it's like, just relax, have a nap, read a bit of a book. Oh, we're there. Okay.
I remember Yuro, not Yuro, it was Arun took the bus.
That's right.
Oh,
yeah.
We basically take the bus and it's like next
From
to the
from
city.
Estonia. Yeah.
Estonia.
And last week when we were doing King of the Sea, Flamu, he's got the train from Helsinki. Just St. Petersburg. It's just over the border. It's fine.
I was going to ask you between Community Contributors Summit and your Battle Tour thing, did they allow you to go off in St. Petersburg and stuff?
Yeah. We got there 2 days early. Well, technically only 1 day early. See, that's the thing. Getting the flights from London. You can get a flight from Gatwick, which is great. It's much more convenient to get to for me, but that's a late night flight, and it gets in St. Petersburg 10:30 at night. By the time you've gotten through security and you've collected your baggage, it's 11 o'clock. You basically get to the hotel and you're in bed. So the first day was a write-off. The second day, however, the Thursday, because we had to be there for the Friday to do rehearsals and then broadcasting Saturday and Sunday. So we basically had 1 full day just to wander around and have a look at the sites. So we did actually get to see the Aurora this time, which is quite impressive. Although it would be a damn sight more impressive if I spoke Russian, because everything below decks is a museum, but it's all in Russian. Impressive, but I didn't really know exactly what I was looking at most of the things.
It's like the museum we went to when we're at CC Summit. You go and see all the model ships, and it's like, I can't read it.
Yeah. It's still impressive. You know, some of the detail on those models was just amazing, and the other exhibits that they had was great. But if we hadn't had the tour guide, we wouldn't really have much of a clue of what we were looking at. Went to see the Artillery Museum. Ended up running past a lot of the places, like the Vodka Museum. Do you remember that?
Oh, we went to a vodka museum, but we didn't get any vodka.
Yeah, I know, that was kind of disappointing.
What?
I know.
Wait a second.
It's,
This is some serious sacrilege for me. You went to a vodka museum and did not
Trust me,
vodka
I
sample.
put it on the survey. Yes, they sent out a survey and went, "What's the deal?"
Yeah.
We could have just had at least 1 shot for lunch. Nope, nothing.
The thing about this vodka museum is it's not actually a museum. It's a restaurant that has various different vodka exhibits, including an AK-47 vodka bottle.
Oh, yeah.
You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Came in its own gun case. This thing was amazing. But they were a restaurant first and foremost, rather than an actual museum. And we were there for lunch. We were going. What was that, before or after the Central Naval Museum?
It was after the museum, and we were going transit back to the studio to do our test runs. So I think maybe they didn't want everybody to be hosed going back to the studio.
Yeah, that's probably it.
I
It was
didn't
fun.
want everybody to be hosed. I like that one. I mean, that's how you end up losing things, right?
Well, what we were talking about earlier, the first night, the restaurant, Mine Herds, in the Menshikov Palace, 8 or 9, I forget, course meal with a vodka shot between every course.
I
We
did also
participated.
hear from Volgarth that when you guys, I believe it was at that dinner when you were checking your coats, they came over with a tray of vodka, and you told him to take the cranberry chaser, and he decided to prove he was tough. He's like, I don't need it. He goes, it burned so bad. I should have listened to Jingles. I'm like, did you tell him that? He went, no. So, haha, Volgar, I told on you. Because I know you're in chat.
This is the horseradish vodka shot, isn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that's what he said it was.
Oh.
I don't even do horseradish
Russians
straight
love
up.
their
I couldn't
horseradish.
imagine it in a harsh vodka with it.
It was good.
Like, what do they do? Just like soak the horseradish in it and then strain it out or something? Or
I don't know.
No idea.
We had vodka infused like habanero stuff here too.
Yes.
So
You're from Texas, aren't you?
who, me?
Yeah.
Southern California.
Southern California. Oh, close to Texas, doesn't it? Southwest. As soon as you said vodka infused habaneros, I got that distinct southwestern sort of going on.
No, I live up here in Portland, Oregon, Northwest. Right
Oh, in
now.
Oregon, Northwest.
Yeah, Portland, Oregon. Yeah.
the land of hipsters.
No. That's
Apple
Seattle.
That is Seattle.
Yeah, Seattle's quickly taking over on that one.
Right. Well, I have a
Starbucks,
question.
Microsoft.
I got a question for
Anyway.
you guys. It's focused a bit more towards the part of the community contributors program. So World of Warships recently put forward the ability to apply to become a contributor through the website. What are you guys' thought on this? And do you guys think that, what do you hope to see to come from this move to increase the basic contributors from multiple sources?
We have community contributors who are coming in and out. I mean, we're losing, for example, Fem and Kami Samurai because they're actually working
Congrats
for
to both
Wargaming
of them.
now. Congratulations to them.
Yeah, congrats.
So we need more new community contributors, more people that are helping out with the game to fill their slots or fill their roles. And the more they expand out, the more flavors you can say that you can get. Because, like myself, I'm streaming on Facebook, for example. Jingles has got his YouTube. You still got your Twitch streamers here. You might have actually pretty soon Periscope streaming stuff. So it's just, if you have more community contributors all across various areas, get more exposure.
Plus, it keeps the rest of us on our toes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the first time I think anybody's done anything. I have to give Wargaming props because they've always led the way where this whole community thing has been concerned. Starting with World of Tanks and giving blanket written permission to anybody to use World of Tanks, because you'd be amazed. Oh, another thing, we were talking earlier about the proposed new North American server end user license agreement.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's dun dun dun.
Mhm. But Wargaming EU kind of led the way by putting blanket permissions on the forum for everybody to read, not just saying you all have permission to use our game to create content and put it on YouTube and monetize it and stream it on Twitch and monetize it and so on and so on, but also if anybody gives you any problems, direct them to us, which was huge. No game company had ever done anything like that before. They fell at a couple of hurdles every now and then over the years since, but on the whole, they've been pretty good. The World of Warships community contributor program, on the other hand, is just it's leaps and bounds ahead of even that. I mean, if you had a question about something in World of Tanks that required an answer from one of the developers,
Good luck.
yeah, good luck, because if you were lucky enough to attend one of the developer Q&A sessions and your question got moderated and passed to the developers, the Russian developers, World of Tanks, are known for, how can we put this, not suffering fools gladly. And they are brutally honest when it comes to answering questions posed by the community. And if they don't like your question, they'll basically call you an idiot and tell you to sod off. So that might be the result of your question to the developers in World of Tanks. If you didn't get lucky enough to attend one of these Q&A sessions, then your only recourse was to pose a question on the forums, or if you were lucky and you actually had the contact details of one of the community team, you could ask one of them to forward your question on to the developers in Minsk, who may or may not be bothered to answer it. So it could take months, if ever, for you to get an answer to a question from the developers. Meanwhile, here in World of Warships, we get our questions answered by the devs who we have met and gone out drinking and eating with, usually within an hour of asking the question.
Holy
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah, or less.
Yeah.
And if they can't come back with the answer straight away, they acknowledge the question and they get back to you as soon as possible. And that's just one example of how fantastic this community contributor program is. And the fact that they're even opening it up to applications, so anybody can have a go and try to get in. I think it's just fantastic. It's leaps and bounds ahead of what the competition are doing. It's even leaps and bounds ahead of what the rest of Wargaming are doing. So, I think it's great, and long may it continue.
Many of the community contributors actually have some type of channel open for you to ask questions through us, so that way we can get to them. For example, my own Discord, I have asked the developers, and I've actually had someone ask about scaling, for example, because 2K and 4K scaling is kind of at the moment, so everything's at 1080. So I within about a day or so, I sent the question up there. There's time zone difference, morning, nighttime, back and forth between them, and then sure enough, about a few hours later, they're working on it.
Yeah,
it's on the list of things that they're doing and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I got an answer, and then I came right back.
I'll give you one example. One of the very few times I've ever actually, used the privilege of asking a question direct to the developers. We were doing a stream on a Sunday, full division of 7 players, so that you can basically play through all of the operations. And we just farming them for experience and credits and having a lap. And one of us noticed a really bizarre-looking seaplane mounted on the shores. I don't know if you've ever noticed it before, but it's the weirdest-looking thing you've ever seen.
Is it the one where it has the wings coming right off
Yes.
the top of the fuselage?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's a really strange design. So we're like, what the hell is that? Never seen anything like it before. Tried Googling it, looking for something similar. I've got this website called Air Vectors, which is a fantastic source of information on World War II, all the way through Cold War and modern aircraft. Couldn't find it. Saw things that looked kind of a little bit like it, but they weren't it. I'll just ask the developers. This is on a Sunday. Got the answer within 20 minutes. That's the World of Warships Community Contributor Program.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know people in the gaming industry, in the office with devs who walk over and ask questions like, we'll get back to you. And it could still be a week. And they're in the damn building getting a paycheck from the same people.
Yep. Well, here's a question for you guys here. This is going to go out to Hotel Kilo, Krigor, Highfire. What's your favorite video in series from the two guests we have tonight?
Should we let Hotel's fangirl first?
Yeah, go ahead and
Because he looks like he's about to explode. He's already starting to turn red.
No, that's just like the beer getting to me. No.
Hold on, before you answer, just to give him a hard time, we actually gave him a 2-minute warm up on Skype earlier before we brought Jingles on, so he could get it all out before we brought him on.
He's all
He
like, I can't.
squealed when we told him Yuro confirmed, and he squealed and danced when we told him Jingles confirmed. Now, I will neither confirm nor deny what I may have done, as mine was all text back and forth through Highfire so nobody could see it. But we had him on video for it.
I will confirm I was very, very excited and looking forward to June 4th. I think from Yuro, my favorite video of yours has to be How to Scharnhorst.
Yes.
That one is so good. Just the emphasis on the 355 millimeters of belt armor on that thing, just throughout the entire video, is great. You know, for Jingles, it's so hard because there's so many flippin' videos. It's really hard to pin it just down to one.
Throw enough shit at the wall, some of it's gonna stick.
I suppose there's some valid.
Spoken like a corporate gentleman.
But I really do like your Mingles with Jingles. Those are probably the videos that I look forward to the most, just because I love hearing the shenanigans that you and well, that maybe Rita forces you into a little bit, with the Rita effect.
Yes.
And then I think of your recent videos, the one that you did, I think it was last week with the Hindenburg. I think that was probably my favorite of your recent videos, mostly because the Hindenburg is my baby. I love it.
Man pants.
Please don't nerf it. I've only just unlocked it.
Actually, I think it was your video that convinced me that I was going to. This is probably 2 years ago now. It was right after it was released, and I don't know if it was a test shift that you had access to or something. But when you said in the video last week that this was the first time you featured the Hindenburg, I was like, well, actually, Jingles.
Yeah, actually, Jingles. Yes. No,
But,
you're right. You're absolutely right. But that was back in the day when you could stealth fire on the surface.
Right. That's what got me to say, nope, we're going down the German cruiser line. We're doing it. And that was my first tier 10.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that thing was ridiculous. It had like something like a 4-kilometer window of opportunity where it could stealth fire on the surface without smoke and not be spotted. It was just absurd.
So.
Highfire, you want to go next, sir?
Sure. There's a few different things here. I've known Jingles' videos. I'm Roll the Tankers too back in 2011. So I've been watching a lot of his videos for some time, even though I don't do any comments or replies to him. But you know, like what he said, there's so much out there already. So, but every time I see new videos and new ships come out, obviously I'll take a look and check it out. There's nothing in particular that stands out like favorite thing. I enjoy him, and I had a pleasure of meeting him at the Community Contributor Summit.
Likewise.
Yuro though, I've known about him, and I didn't have a face to name on him too. But even when I'm like on my own streams and I'm doing torpedo beats and stuff and dodging left and around, I should probably submit that. But but no, meeting both these guys are really cool guys, and I'm really glad to meet them both.
Do you have a
You
favorite from them?
realize
I'm sorry.
Do you have a favorite video from either of them that you just it's your go-to if you had to recommend somebody and say, go watch this video, it will tell you everything you need to know about the Jingles videos.
how
The
to
Jingles
Atlanta.
videos. Yeah. I'll admit that I checked it out and I was like, yeah, there you go. Atlanta.
How to Atlanta is my favorite Euro video. I must have watched that
Oh.
video 13 or 14 times, and I still laugh every time I watch it.
That's the video that has just kicked out my channel.
Yeah,
To this
That
point.
that was your
That is-
masterpiece.
It was came out of nowhere. The idea was just, let's just try to make this kind of video, because I also took it from other YouTuber, and I surprised it was actually that big. I don't expect that really. Yeah, I mean at that time, never expect it to be such a yeah.
That's it. You can never predict when something's going to go viral and just take off.
Yeah.
You get people that you can see when you're looking at the videos. They're trying to create the next meme viral video. You know, they're not doing it because they love doing it, because they want to express their sense of humor. They're doing it just to try to see if they can create something that goes viral. And you know, you didn't even try, and it did. It's great to be us.
Well, yeah, I think that's okay. I've reached this point.
Yeah.
I think it's a good way to continue. Yeah.
So I think my favorite individual video is still the one where it talked about the battle between the Belfast and the Bismarck and all of that. Just I'll sit there and zone out for hours watching the History Channel when they're, during World War II week and everything. I love watching that stuff. They never run anything hardly on the naval battles. It's always the land battles that they show. So watching that was just awesome. Series though, why have to be mad? I swear to God,
It is only game. Why you have to be mad?
Yeah, if I could figure out how these people front handspring in a damn tank, because I picked up tanks a while ago. B-Ted, the social media manager for Wargaming Warships NA, finally convinced me to come play with them, and I've been having a blast with it. But hills are my banks, so like creep forward, creep forward, creep forward. I'm like, wait, there's no hill under me, and I'm upside down like a damn turtle on my back. Then I watch these guys and like creep, gun it, and they just like front handspring off a tank, putting a shell to the top and take off. Going, I'm like, why have to be mad? Because I can't do that. That's why I have to be mad.
We ain't never gonna be that good.
No.
It's just, you watch some of these guys live streaming, guys like Sir Fosh, Quickie Baby, Circumflexes, Orzanel. I love Orzanel. He streams during the day. The title of his stream is "Nobody Else is Streaming. Gotta watch Orzanel." and it's true. He still picks up like 800 viewers. But some of the stuff that it's just ridiculous. You're never gonna be that good. It doesn't matter how much you try, how much you practice. That some people have just got it, and I don't. But you can you're at least good enough to recognize greatness when you see it. Same with World of Warships. There are some people out there that are insanely talented. Euro's not bad. That How to Atlanta video, that scene, the bit I'm talking about, where you're in the Atlanta and you're in the sort of inlet on an island and there are 3 enemy ships coming for you at the same time. Nobody expects 127 millimeter armor piercing. Point blank range, 15 citadels. You know the scene I mean. Just wow. But that's about knowing what it can do and what it can't do and putting it in the right place at the right time. And the rest of us mere mortals just watch and marvel and laugh our asses off as well at that kind of gameplay.
So for Euro though, everybody, a bunch of people in chat, all my regular viewers, are like, oh, it's going to be how to cleanse. And that was my first one that always stuck with me. And I love it. And when I repicked up the U.S. cruisers after I did DD, after playing the Lo Yang, I went straight back to how to Clemson and knock the dust off. Quick refresher, as silly as it sounds. For me though, because I started out trying to be a BB main, just because I was like, okay, I can't really screw up in this thing. I'm a giant floating bathtub that can take a lot of hits. It's Trump Wagon. It's How to Missouri is by far my favorite how-to from Yuro. It's close though. Like Clemson and How to Atlanta are right on its tails. But I'm sorry, How to Missouri, the Trump wagon. Just sit back, shoot some shells, and loll to the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Funny that it's also all of the Americans ship.
Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah, all of them are US.
Well, Scharnhorst isn't. We have one person that likes your German
Scharnhorst,
ones.
you did Scharnhorst, Tirpitz, you have
Yeah, but all the ones, with the exception of Scharnhorst, that people are naming as their favorites, they're all American ships.
that's fair. Yeah.
Although I do laugh every time I need a good chuckle and I've gotten done detonating or citadeling the crap out of a Musashi, I go back and watch the How to Musashi video, you know, the discount Yamato.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotta say, I still, to agree with Cater, I enjoyed the Moskva video.
Yes.
Oh, that's so old though. Honestly,
The Moscow was great.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with being old.
But that was also the first Euro
Jingles,
video
you
I
know
ever
all
saw.
about that, wouldn't you?
That was your first one, was Moskva?
Yeah, Cater goes, you got to see this, and he puts it up. Like that was actually probably one of the first introductions to the game.
Wow. Yeah, my first Euro was the Clemson, which stuck with me, and then doing battleships, like, all right, what's he got on battleships here? All right, Missouri, I've heard that thing's like the greatest boat ever, and I watched it, and I was in tears laughing. I'm like, this is amazing. I have to get that ship. And then when they were like, we're taking it away, I'm like, well, I know what my really long birthday stream's going to be. The grind to get the Missouri before it disappears. Must have Trump wagon. I think he even said 12-hour birthday stream, grind to the Trump wagon or something like that in the stream title for it.
Yeah. Well, I do want to get some of the chat's questions here tonight. So we've had a couple pop up here.
Okay.
Early on, Torben had asked, do you guys think that for the DD's sake, they should have released the split all at once? Later, obviously, or was the right decision to do it in a split release?
The DDs, you mean the Japanese ships?
You mean the cruisers?
Yeah, cruisers.
Maybe
For the
cruisers.
DD's sake, do you think they should have released them, done the split once, or have it do like the split release?
I have absolutely no evidence to back this guess up, because it is pure speculation. But I suspect that the reason we've seen the split release the way it is because stuff wasn't ready on time, and they were kind of committed, and so they got out what they had by consolidating the heavy cruiser line, which I think is, well, I don't know, I may be wrong. We've seen American heavy cruisers. We've got the Pensacola, we've got the New Orleans, we've got the Baltimore. I think a lot of people are probably looking forward more to the light cruiser line than the heavy cruisers. But you know, they're kind of committed to this release schedule. I was actually speaking to another game developer. His name's James Brooksby. He is the CEO of Edgecase Games, the developers of Fractured Space. And
love that game.
oh, awesome! Right. Have you
I got high
Thank
five
you
wanna
for
get-
getting me into that, Jingles.
don't
Thank
want to
you.
get sidetracked, but there's the new Discovery mode has just run.
Don't you
which
tease
is a
me,
lot
it's
of
good
fun.
time.
Yeah, but anyway, and he was talking about the single most, because they speak to a lot of consultants, trying to get the most out of the game, and apparently, the single most effective factor for a game developer in ensuring, I don't want to use the phrase customer loyalty, but keeping a hold of the players and subscribers that you have, it's not the amount of content that you have. It's not the diversity of the content that you have. It's not the graphics. It's not the storyline. It's none of that stuff. How often do you update? That's the key. That's the secret to keeping people interested in your game.
Mhm.
If you update once a month, your numbers go up because the players that you have stay, because they don't have to wait long to see what's new. And you're not losing people through natural wastage, and the players that are coming in are more likely to be retained as well. And that, simple as it sounds, is the single biggest factor when it comes to retaining and growing your player base, which is why years ago when World of Tanks was doing a patch every 6 months, and they changed that to a patch every 3 months with a mini patch every month and a half. Suddenly the numbers started taking off. World of Warships, how often do they release a patch?
3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks.
2 weeks? Two
They
weeks?
pushed it out now to 4 weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You're
I mean,
looking.
and you have a content drop, a new line being released ever since it left beta and went into full release. There's been a new line dropped every quarter.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
every other quarter. Excuse me.
Yeah. So it's the timing of your content drops and your patch releases that drives customer satisfaction, customer retention more than anything else. So getting something out there, I think, from a business perspective, was more important. And I'm not criticizing what they put out because,
So
Tier
is
8
it more like
Cleveland.
is it more like a taste of the incoming cruiser line versus like
Yeah.
here's the entire cruiser line all
Yeah.
at once?
And also,
Oh yeah.
they've given us new content. They've rebalanced the Baltimore, the New Orleans, the Pensacola. I love the Tier 6 Pensacola. I think Tier 6 is where the Pensacola should have been since the start. It's a fantastic ship. Turret Traverse is a bit painful, but with great American heavyweight armor piercing comes slow turret traverse. So I'm prepared to put up with that. And then we've got the Buffalo, and then probably substantially less than next quarter, we're going to get all of the light cruisers as well. And you can
Right.
already start the American cruiser arc right now, which will probably still be going. Well, of course, it'll keep going until you complete it. The campaign's not going away. So the content's there, more content on the way, and all of this, from business perspective, is absolutely the right way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree. I mean, if you're just gonna release an entire line, you got to realize that cruisers they're pretty significant. Not just like a round of DDs or so, or like 2 or 3 DDs get released. This is 4 ships, the entire like line that's going down separately. So giving you just kind of a taste, because you get into that Worcester or so, and you're like gonna get nuked out of nowhere. Well, did you go up the other line with it? No, I just free experience all the way down. Well, check out the Cleveland, what they're doing now, and then see people are jumping into Tier 8 Cleveland going, oh, they're getting a little bit of a reality check there. So now when the next line comes in, they're going to be prepared for it.
So,
right.
Kind of, since we're talking about the new lines real quick, one for Euro and then also Jingles. We'll pick on Euro first because he's just fun to pick on because he doesn't have a camera, so he can't make faces at us. How excited is it for you, being somebody who creates, like for myself and High Fire and Hotel, we do the live streaming, so we, right when it hits, we're like, okay, here's where it is, where you guys can actually sit down and plan it out and create content around the new lines, seeing, especially being on the content creator side, without giving spoilers, to be able to pre-line up and get kind of a head start on what you want to show and how you think you're going to show it.
I'm okay for the new line, the new content, right? Like the perks of being a CC is that you get to access everything like head start to every other players. But I don't know. At least in my case, is that new ships are nice. I mean, I used to test premiums before they launch. Like some of my how-to guides are like the premiums that are being released. But when I were unable to make a guide for a specific premiums or an upcoming ship, I usually don't make it because my content is just that irregular. And yeah, I will making contents along the ride. I mean, if I got this kind of footage, and let's say I got a bunch of footage from like Des Moines, Spotter Des Moines. I think Jingles have Jingles have featured a replay from someone using a Spotter Des Moines.
You've got a lot to answer for there.
All right, guys, so we need a lot of spotter plane Des Moines footage sent to Euro just so he can make how to give Jingles aneurysm. That'll be the name of the video.
I've actually got the spotter plane mod from a super container, and I've just been fighting the urge to stick it on the Des Moines just for the memes.
Yeah, actually, like now it's actually a good time to use Spotter Des Moines because there's so little destroyers players, because there are so many Clevelands, Buffaloes, and all the cruisers. Yeah, around. I mean, it really big sense just to use spotter just for the laugh. and looking at the enemy destroyer still keeping their distance to your Moine, even though your Moine clearly has a spotter flying above him. He's still keeping their distance. It's just funny to see.
Yikes! Excuse me.
Hey,
Right.
If you only knew what you'd started with that Euro, seriously, you got a lot to answer for.
Well, guys, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break here, a little quick intermission, and then we will be right back here. During the time, go ahead and post your questions in chat so I can tag me on those so I can go ahead and make sure I get to them, and we'll get a couple more rounds of questions in for everybody.
Sir, was that the Roma's conning tower I just saw you tip back?
What? Nothing. No. Nobody saw nothing.
There we go.
Oh.
Look at our smile. Look at Euro. He's so stoic and stone faced there for us.
Isn't he?
I know. Just the
I
way
know,
he
right?
keeps that eye the eye locked on with the crowd the whole time there on his camera.
It's like,
How do you do it, Euro?
It doesn't matter which way I move, to the left, right. He's just eyes follow me.
I'm really impressed how long you can go without blinking, Euro.
It's
I
amazing.
really am.
All right, well,
Really
guys, we're
good
back.
at it.
Did want to jump into the next question here for you guys. Axel Zero asked, would anyone like to see all battleship matches on ocean where everyone spawns within 10 kilometers and in battle line parallel to each other?
I think that would be worth it for the laugh.
I think
would like
that
least
would
once.
be an amazing April 1st operation. Operation Wall Smash, when you load up, it's a picture of a captain just beating his head against the wall.
Everybody gets a rental Yamatos.
No, everybody gets rental go first, but they're all secondary build.
Yeah. that's what I
If
was
your
gonna say.
computer can survive the pixels that are flying, you win.
All the videos are just lag outs.
Exactly.
You should try. You should try doing that with aircraft carriers. I have. My computer was not up to it.
Oh,
It just
two
gave
aircraft
up.
carrier.
I think that would be fun twice. One time I would do it just for the lulls, and then the second time I would try hard the fuck out of it.
See, I went. We had I can't remember exactly what it was, but we had a bunch of EU community contributors and North American community contributors, and we just got together just for shits and giggles, and we were playing all kinds of silly game modes. And one of them was, I think it was, I forget which camp. Is it the Shikaku, the Japanese Tier 8? But
Yes.
anyway, yeah. 24 Shikakus in one game on the neighbours map, and I just knew, one, I am so bad at playing aircraft carriers, and two, it was going to turn into a slideshow. So I set my Shikaku up for secondary gun batteries. And I put the ramming flag on it, and I just went for it. So that was the most fun I've ever had playing an aircraft carrier.
I mean, it would make a great video. How to hate yourself.
Yeah.
You want that one, Euro?
Yeah.
How to hate
Yeah.
yourself?
You want to call
I
dibs on it?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, sometimes I really hate myself on, either doing stupid things or just, basically regrets on my game. And
Mistakes
also
were
my
made.
stream. Yeah, mistakes were made. But
We
I get
have
used to it.
regrets.
We have regrets. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that you had that earlier when I was
big one.
watching you. You were shooting. You're like, why am I not getting pens? Oh, I forgot to retarget to the Hindenburg as you put 2 salvos of AP at like 15 kilometers into a broadside in Missouri.
Yeah, that one moment that kind of make or break everything. Yeah, happens all the time. Just try to get over it. Always.
On a side note, they are working on a battle royale version of this game.
Because why
please
not?
no.
PUBG can do it, and Fortnite can do it. Warships can do it.
Okay,
You run around and pick up your gun turrets off the islands.
Words out there. We did try this
Tactical
mode.
beating?
We did try this mode on St. Petersburg, and I thought it was really fun.
I mean, based on the fact we had
Actually,
a
yeah.
Command and Highfire's chat for, oh look, Highfire found another beach. I think he'll win if you have to run around and run into the beach to find your gun turrets. He will be armored up like a Bismarck in a Shimakaze.
I was doing the Habaros because I thought it was a different type of version of the map or whatnot that I was going into, and then I was like, oh, we're in the battle royale. Oh shit! Yeah, Speedboat is like, yeah, getting secondaries from carriers.
Yes.
Gee, I wonder who did that one. Everybody look to the bottom part of the screen.
Guys, have you guys? A Gibson asked, have you guys gotten a chance to use the Tier 10 special modules? And if so, what do you think about them as far as balance of play goes?
I have not.
I have
haven't
not.
played.
I have. You see, you don't get them on your regular account. You have to request them, and you get a test account, a press account, which has them unlocked. And I looked at my schedule and I said, you know what? No, I'm going to let Flamu and Flambas test them, and I'm going to watch their live streams instead.
There you go.
What's the one on the Hindenburg? The Hindenburg
It
has
basically makes you impervious to HE spam. It cuts down so your fires, if you spec into it, only last like 15 seconds.
15 seconds. Yeah,
Oh, sweet. Jesus.
absolutely ridiculous.
That's right
Yeah,
up there with
just-
the Minotaur. Have you seen the Minotaurs?
No, I haven't. No.
It
What
puffs
is-
smoke for 90 seconds, but each puff lasts 15% shorter than a standard. But it's a minute 30 refresh from the time the first puff started. So I can almost go. Fem tested it from one side of the map to the other at full speed. She made it most of the map, leaving a trail of smoke all the way across it. So if
At
you
full
sit
speed?
still, yeah. If you sit still with the Minotaur, you are essentially a Pan-Asia DD with a 30-second delay between your smoke coming back up for the Minotaur before you're back in it again. And like, oh no, I need to run. It's okay. My smoke's still following me because I'm in that long 90-second chain
Wow.
of smoke. She's like,
Wow,
if they
okay.
put that in, she's like, guys, we're going to play a ton of Minotaur games because that is so trolly. I love it. And I'm like, I love my
Yeah.
Minotaur. And even I'm like, you need to adjust that because I will feel
Wow.
really dirty. I'll do it. And I'll feel a little bad doing it. Not much, but a little.
Just a little.
So-
Yeah.
Also, the members of the Salt Mine Shaft 559 Sublevel 78 would like to know what is Jingo's favorite cruiser?
I
Wait
love
a
that when it
minute.
came across.
With that name.
Who let them out?
They sent out their union rep, Edge 231, to represent
Yep.
them.
That salt ain't gonna mine itself. My favorite cruiser. Okay. It used to be the Cleveland, but I don't really have enough experience of the Tier 8 Cleveland for that still to be the case. I mean, the
It's
Cleveland was
dirtier.
amazing.
It's
Oh.
dirtier than it was before. It just got dirtier.
I mean, you could argue that the Cleveland probably could have managed as a Tier 8 cruiser anyway, even when it was a Tier 6 cruiser. But yeah, I can't really call dibs on the Cleveland just yet because it's still fresh. It's still new at Tier 8. I think I would have to say this is probably going to be a controversial choice because nobody
boy, here
really
we
thinks
go.
much of the Svetlana,
Oh, I love the sweaty
Oh.
Svetty. She gets down and dirty.
the Russian Tier 4. I had
Don't you
my...
laugh at me, high fire.
I'm going to say I had my damage record in the Svetlana, and I'm going to quote you a number, and you might think that that's not particularly good. And if we're talking about Tier 8, 9, or 10 ships, no, it's not particularly good. But remember, the Svetlana is Tier 4. And I managed to do 146,000 damage in that ship in one match.
That's the
On the
entire
Solomons.
other team almost.
Yes, it is. The entire enemy team, except for 2 ships, who refused to come out and fight me.
Holy Christ.
And so I lost after sinking all but 2 ships on the enemy team and doing 146,000 damage because they were ahead on points because they had the caps, and the entire rest of my team were dead. And 146,000 damage at Tier 4 is not enough to carry, even if you're in the Svetlana. But for that reason alone, I have very, very fond memories of that ship.
Well,
Yuro,
Jingles,
what's
you have
yours?
clear-
My favorite cruiser?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I like cruiser then. Still the Minotaur. The Minotaur is still my favorite. Also, yeah, lately isn't really good for the ship itself. I mean, so many radars going around, and yeah, it's a funable ship. But yeah, I like every cruiser that has a fast reload, has like a very high DPM. That's why I like the Des Moines, I like the Minotaur, I like what else? The Atlanta. Yeah, those are pretty much the cruisers that I care and I laugh about. That's why I don't really like Japanese cruiser because yeah, it doesn't have the fastest reload. I just love I love machine guns. It's like my favorite kind of ships. Yeah.
You heard it here first,
Just-
folks. Death by 1,000 cuts, the Euro tactic.
Also, Mongo Rat asked for all the panelists, where do you guys see World of Warships heading in the future?
What
Who
do I
wants to take that
fantasize
one
and hope
first?
happens, or where do I think it's going to go? Because I would love to see planes 3.0 and ships 2.0, just a combination to where if you want to be a CV captain, you got to recruit 3 people to fly the planes off your deck for you. And I will totally volunteer if one of them's a Spitfire, because I love that game in World War planes. Or any Russian type bomber.
Yes. I've forgotten that I was gonna come out with a pithy comment there, and I forgot the name of the game that I was gonna. War Thunder. That's it. Yeah, suck it, War Thunder. Yeah, I got there eventually. Combined arms battles. We can do that as well. Screw you.
Right,
So you think
Live
you're gonna
Fire?
be combining battles? You think you can have warships, warplanes, and world tanks and all them combined battles? I've seen World of Tanks doing their multiple 9-tile maps now.
That was so much fun.
Mode.
They're talking
That
about that.
was-
So.
yeah.
There's
You think-
no
you think
way
World of
it's.
Warships do that.
They didn't have. Well, maybe, but the whole combined arms battles thing. That's never gonna happen. I mean, what's the biggest tank in World of Tanks? The Japanese Type 5 heavy, the
Something
Mouse.
like that. Some
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, the mouse has a 128 millimeter gun. Type 5, I think, has a 150 millimeter gun. It's only got one. Is that it?
I think the
I
Shimakaze's
see.
winning that shootout.
I see World of Warships following pretty much the same path of what World of Tanks is doing or has done. Is that they expanded out the console systems, they expanded to multiple console systems for World of Tanks, and then I think what World of Warships might do that World of Tanks has not done, server combinations from across the world, tournaments.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I'd like to see them expand the tournaments. I'd like to see if they could find a way to integrate the front line that they just did in tanks, which I had a ton of fun with, into ships somehow. I don't know how you would do it, because you'd probably start off with everybody spamming Shimikazes or whatever the tier is. If it's tier 8, whatever it happens to be for that one, just tons of gearing, just flinging tons of torpedoes. And then when you die, then you bring out something more realistic for it.
Well, Axel Zero actually had a really good idea. He says, we'd like to see a massive map that is a full-scale, real-time game world where ships, planes, and tanks can play on in a World War type scale. So you'd have the different factions playing for rep control points, and you could do it on like campaign missions that may last a month's time.
Well, I was going to say, these campaigns are
entire
going to last
server
like
farm.
2 years. I mean, World War II lasted how many years?
Right.
So, I mean, to do campaigns that's kind of realistic, it's going to take a long time.
Something
thing
like
that
that
I-
would.
Oh, go ahead.
Go
Joe.
ahead, Jingles. Go ahead.
Something
Yeah.
like that would have to happen either one or two ways. You would either have to do it the way that games like Heroes and Generals operate, games like World War II Online operate, where anybody could just drop in and play. And it didn't matter how long you played for. You could play for 15 minutes, you could play for 2 hours, and then drop out. And it doesn't matter because other players are constantly dropping in and out all the time. Or, that can be a kind of chaotic, not really a huge amount of structure to it, although there can be, but it's going to require a hell of a lot of investment.
Mhm.
Or you can go down the clan battles route and do something similar to the way they do it in World of Tanks, where you fight for territories on a global clan map. You could, because we're World of Warships, do it better. So, for example, your map could be the Solomon Islands. So you've got the area of, you've got Iron Bottom Sound, because there's all kinds of battles actually naval battles that took place around the Solomons.
So many ocean maps.
And you could have, I don't know, a supply base at one end, supply base at the other end. These are logistics bases for the two teams. But how many teams are you going to have? You can have, necessarily just the two. Intercepting supply convoys, covering troop transport landings. We've proven that if you look at Operation Aegis, for example, where you're escorting cargo ships, that sort of thing can be made to happen. The potential is definitely there. I think if they're going to do it, it would probably be much more structured, and it would revolve around clans maybe in an extension to the existing clan battles or an improvement on the existing clan battles. It's definitely something that could be done. It just depends on, they don't have unlimited resources. There are things that they are working on. Certainly this year, aircraft carriers are the big thing, as Highfire and myself and Yuro all know and can't talk about.
And if you guys
What are you
haven't
talking
seen
about? You
his
posted
video,
a gameplay video.
yeah, you should
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
go check out his gameplay video on it.
Yeah, definitely do it.
Well,
Worth it.
You're
10 out of 10.
also
Well, Euro had a thought on that one. Euro, what were you gonna say? It's so hard with
Uh,
just having to watch your little blue thing light up there.
Yeah.
I feel so bad that we keep talking over you.
We actually have a different image there when we're looking at it versus what you got on Twitch.
About that grand battle thing, I'm gonna call it grand battle. I think the problem lies more there to the resource, how War Game is gonna handle that many players or that many complexity. Because looking at the game currently at its current state, I just don't think it's on par on that level yet. I don't think it's like the game engine. Like, what about the players? What about the players' computer? What kind of computer they have to have, and what kind of internet? Because we already have like problems in game. The game clients crashing and people can't reconnect, and it ended up getting orange and they get locked into co-op. And there's a lot of things that needs to be straightened out in the game, in the current state of the game. I think that those kind of things needs to be solved first before we could actually progress onto the next great ideas. I mean, I honestly, in my opinion, the game isn't really released. It's still kind of beta-ish. It's not really released because there are so many things get added in. There are so many things get taken out and get fixed and everything. It's not a finished product, but yeah, it's still a very, very enjoyable and playable game.
There's
So-
Euro with a reality check there, pissing on all of our hopes and dreams.
Thanks.
Well,
I
so
know-
here's a thought, just because it's something Baron and I participated in a while back. It's a completely different game. It was one they did when Games Workshop completely revamped Warhammer Fantasy that's been around for like 30 or 40 years. They did it where you went and you played at your local shop. They recorded the matches. They said, here's one side, here's the other side. So depending on what you're playing, here's the points. What if they put in operations, and the more 5 stars you got, so Operation A, you can only pick Allied ships. Operation B, you can only pick Axis ships. And the more 5-star games for that one is a point towards that side. And the overall thing is, hey, it's going to unlock X boost for these ships. But tanks are participating in the same thing, and planes are participating in the same style. And it's whichever one gets the most overall, it unlocks for all 3. So the Axis tanks, Axis Air Force, so planes and warplanes and boats get something like that for it. Because,
also,
maybe a ton of people really want the Allied boats, but everybody's like, oh my God, I'm trying to grind this, the German line of tanks, and, I'm trying to get my Russian dime bombers up some planes. They're going to be focusing, so you can't really one game can't swing it that easy.
well, Krieger, and another way you could do that is, Torben had, what about national battles? So you queue up and you go in to play with your own nation. So Japanese are Japanese, and then games you're winning are at crew points. And maybe at the end of it, the nation who scores the most gets unlock a new ship. A new premium ship comes out or something.
Something
Jingles
like
or something.
Clash of the Elements, but on a larger scale.
Yes.
That could be cool.
The problem with, and I would love to see it happen with this national battles. So you've got like all of the British ships against the German ships, the American ships against the Japanese ships, or whatever. Somebody's going to have to play the midway.
As
And the
as
Gulf
bad as
War.
it sounds, out of all the times I got stuck with carriers and ranked, the midway players are the only ones who did not just completely shit the bed.
Yeah. Well, that's
As
the thing.
scary as it sounds, like they're like, you know what? I need one for that rank, and they dropped the money for it, which meant they had the confidence, and
Yeah.
they didn't do horrible. Like,
You see,
Yeah.
that's the thing with the midway against, God, what is it? The Hakuryu?
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever however you say it.
Do we have any World of Warcraft players here?
Unfortunately,
Okay.
I'll raise
Do you
my hand.
remember? Okay. Do you remember what it was like with paladins back in the Burning Crusade?
Yeah.
Yeah, where DPS paladins, retribution paladins, were just a joke. Right, their DPS was terrible, and yet you still had people who were committed to playing a paladin, and they would go into the battlegrounds with their shitty DPS.
Baron was one of them.
Auto attacking, and just hoping that all of their procs would go off at the right time and in the right place. Equipped in a hodgepodge of leather, plate, and mail armor, whatever worked best. And these guys got really, really good at being DPS paladins, basically armed with the metaphorical equivalent of a kiwi fruit and a wet sock. And then suddenly, there was that one patch, right? There was that one patch that dropped that completely changed the way Retribution Paladin worked. And suddenly, you had these guys who were used to fighting and winning against people who were infinitely better equipped to deal with PvP than they were. And they were suddenly giving these paladins the metaphorical equivalent of Space Marine power armor, bolt guns, and melter bombs. And there was carnage. Absolute carnage. Yes. Absolute fucking, excuse my French, carnage. The tears were legendary. And naturally, they got nerfed. But just for that week or so period, the Paladins finally got what they deserved. And I've talked about this now for so long that I can't even remember what the original point was.
Midway.
Yes, the Midway. But that's the equivalent. That's what these Midway players are experiencing. That they've had to deal with so much shit for so long that they're good at it. They can handle it. And so if somebody has actually got the balls to take a Midway into a ranked battle or into a tournament game, keep an eye on them because they're going to surprise you. They may be, there's one of two things are going to happen. Either they're doing it for a joke or they're actually pretty good and they're likely to surprise you.
Well, over in EU, your guys' new community manager for Warplanes was one of them, grinding it out Ikibu, and his statement was, I'm either going to farm the salt mines until I have nobody left in there because I've crushed them all, or I'm going to make rank 1. We're going to see what happens. Either way, I'm enjoying myself.
We actually saw a couple of Midways get brought out during the King of the Sea. It usually didn't end too well for them, which is weird because in North American tournaments, you do tend to see the Midway, and somehow you manage to make it work. And yet when you see somebody playing a Midway on the EU, the AA bubbles shut them down. You get Minotaurs in the middle of the map, creating a massive no-fun zone for the enemy carrier. It's just, I don't know. It's something that only seems to work on North America and just doesn't seem to work on EU. Nobody really knows why.
It's because not enough people over here support the cure for sky cancer.
That'll be it.
All right, guys. Well, let's take a look here, do a couple extra questions, and then we're probably going to get close to wrapping it up. Let's take a look here. I know I'm going to mess this up. Fetej la vache.
Oh my god, don't even try. Fetches la vache.
Steve.
Okay.
Steve again.
Okay, hold
Steve
on.
asked.
This is the same guy we went through a Mexican restaurant drive-through. And he's like, I'd like to order the Polo Asada burrito. Growing up in Southern California, almost came unglued. You heard the lady on the other side lose it laughing before she could kill her microphone. And he looks at me and goes, what? I'm like, I swear to God, if you ever say that again, I will stab you with your own gear shifter.
To be fair, don't speak Spanish. Grew up in the Northwest. There's 2 L's. Okay, phonetically, I was correct.
I was in Subway several years ago, standing in front of a couple of locals down here in the south coast of England, and they were taking their time picking their ingredients. And there was 2 girls, teenagers, and one of them was like, "Can I have some of those Japalinos?" What? And you can see the look. Yeah. Yeah, I want some of them Japalinos on mine. Yeah, some of them, please. Yeah, loads of them. And you could see that her friend was mortified, just embarrassed at her pronunciation.
Yeah, I was that.
And
That was that friend.
Wait. It gets better.
Okay.
Her friend, I'm standing behind them. Her friend turns around and says, "Don't be an idiot. They're not Japalinos. They're jalapenos."
Oh
my
Lord.
God. Oh my God.
Wow.
Just somebody shoot me now.
It was the facepalm heard around the world. When y'all heard that strange crack 2 weeks ago, that was Jingles' hand hitting his forehead in a subway. So, Axel had a real
Anyway.
good point before we move on to the next question, Jix. We're talking about the midway and everything. What about a mechanic where the fighters can actually strafe regular ships to have a chance to break the AA turrets? Can't they use to strafe the decks to try and get the guys off the decks?
I actually said that in a couple of panels ago that fighters should be able to strafe ships in order to, at least temporarily knock out or not
AA or
knock out, but
secondary.
like
Suppress their AA.
suppress their AA for so many seconds. So if you timed it perfectly, your strike aircraft, torpedo bombers, dive bombers, whatever, could get through without, a defensive AA bubble or something like that. So you'd be sacrificing your fighters to
Which is
make
what
way
they
for your
did a
strike
lot.
aircraft. I think that would be
I
awesome.
think that's actually a very good idea. I also think it's probably never going to happen because they're reworking carriers.
Right.
And it's funny. No, I've already said too much.
They're reworking carriers.
Do we still have the
rest of the
NDA?
Yeah, I think if you...
We do.
Yep, there it is.
There we go.
We actually
You got
have
a
one
penalty
in
of
because we
being-
had B10 and Volgar
Yep.
right after the summit, so we put a special NDA command in the chat.
Yep.
It says,
Yep.
due to the penalty of being forced to only play the Omaha or Emerald for every one of our panelists are unable to answer your question. I think I saw that look of disgust. I think he just got a little nasty taste in his mouth when I said Omaha Emerald.
Lambo, Omaha isn't bad.
I think Yuro would rather take a $500 trip again than get stuck playing nothing but the Omaha for the rest of his life.
On modules disabilities, though, would it be really cool if you can knock out your radars on certain ships if they were
Pretty cool.
exposed to high explosives or something?
I'm
Short
gonna have
time,
to say
not
no,
like
being a
permanently.
U.S. cruiser player. I'm gonna have to disagree with that one.
Just saying your AA gets knocked out or something like that. It'd be kind of
cool
cool
with
if you have
the
actual,
AA.
like,
That's
your
the battleship's
actual
problem.
consumables get knocked out or whatnot. So
Yeah, it would
I
be.
mean, if you think about it, though, when you run defensive AA, say on a Des Moines, and you're 3/4 of the way through the game, and half of your 76 millimeter guns get knocked out, I mean, your defensive AA is getting taken out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you still have the scatter effect no matter what,
Yeah.
but your DPS is dropping significantly.
Yeah.
You kind of already have that. I think it'd be cool, if your radar got dropped a couple hundred meters, for if it got damaged or something like that, or it got knocked down 20% or something like that.
Put a 15
if
second
it got knocked
cooldown
out.
on it if it gets hit. An
Sure.
immediate cooldown,
Yeah.
so I can't pop it now because they're busy fixing wiring.
Well, the Sean horse got her radar knocked out in the first hit that she took.
Right.
The thing is, though, yeah, radar isn't. It's not a. It's a consumable. It's not something that is actually part of the ship, like the engine or the AA guns or the main turrets or the rudder or the steering or whatever. It's a consumable. So, yeah, from a realistic point of view, absolutely, you should be able to get your radar knocked out. It's a part of the ship, the same as anything else. Except it isn't part of the ship, the same as anything else. Not in game terms. It's a consumable,
Right.
So
which
maybe
may
that
or may not be
knockout, put
mounted
a
on the ship.
cooldown put on it. So if the radar takes damage, you now have a 15-second cooldown on it, like
Yeah.
you popped it.
Yeah, there's any number of different ways of actually managing it.
So Twidget Gray brought up a good point. Give destroyers chaff, and then instead of smoke. If you want to escape radar, give them chaff, and then you have, an escape for a destroyer instead. Of course, you're playing into a situational, type thing at that point, so it's a trade-off. I think that would be kind of balanced.
They already do now. There's some they have to choose between. Was it the Pan Asia line? Choose between smoke or radar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My Des Moines, I'll be honest, I don't even run defensive AA on my Des Moines. Most people see a Des Moines and just take a big wide berth around and going, I run hydro on it. I love to hunt DDs.
Yeah, the Minotaur doesn't have defensive AA, but it still creates a massive no-fun zone around it for any enemy carrier.
Right. Same thing with the Moskva. It's the same thing.
The only issue with chaff rocket launchers is, warships come equipped with chaff rocket launchers for exactly that purpose, to confuse the target. But I don't think they started putting them on ships until the 1960s. You certainly wouldn't see them on a Fletcher. You wouldn't see them on a Mahan. You wouldn't see them on a Benson. Yeah. So it depends how much you're prepared to mess around with reality just for the sake of game mechanics. I'm not saying it can't happen, but that's something that you need to bear in mind.
Right.
So hold up, guys. Some of our viewers don't know what a chaff is.
Okay.
Sure. Jingles, you're the Navy man. Go for it.
Well, it was I believe, invented by the Royal Air Force during World War II. They called it window. That was the code name for it. It's basically metallic strips of tinfoil. And the Pathfinder aircraft would go ahead, not just to drop flares and mark the targets, but they'd also drop clouds of this stuff, and it basically messed with radar. So you would know that you were on, or you may not. You could also use it as a decoy, which was primarily what it's used for now. German radar would just be obscured. Massive blanket radar return coming from these huge clouds of metallic tinfoil that have basically been scattered in the air. You use them on ships nowadays, usually mounted in rocket launchers, which fire out to confuse the homing heads of incoming missiles. And what they're talking about here is firing off a chaff cloud from your destroyer, for example, to confuse enemy radar in exactly the same way, because that's what chaff's for, so that you're no longer detected if you get radared by a radar cruiser. That cover all the bases? A little bit of historical angle in there as well.
I don't know if you're able to see our chat Jingles, but there's a lot of comments and stuff. And so if you see us all rolling laughters and stuff, it's not. It's because our chat is making
Dr. Zhao advised us that the shorts he's wearing give him chaff every summer, but thankfully one of our moderators let him know there's a cream for his chaffing. You're right, Max. That is exactly. We're trying not to laugh to make Jingles think we're laughing at him. While you say something.
I'm sitting here thinking, what am I? I'm not.
It's not you at all. No.
I'm sitting here thinking, I'm not telling jokes. This isn't a funny story. Why isn't it?
Welcome to Twitch.
Welcome to live broadcast.
Yes.
Like, guys, I appreciate your laughter, but if you could make sure you time it for when it's appropriate, that'd be fantastic. Hang on. It's chat. Yeah, I see.
Well, guys, unfortunately, it's starting to come to an end of our things here tonight. But before we head out, I wanted to give each of our panelists a chance to let us know what they have going on, what the fans can look for in the near future. So it's your blatant self-promotion time here. So start off, I'm going to go with our two guests. Jingles, what do we got going on?
Well, I intend at some point to actually finish Mingles with Jingles this week, which I had hoped, because I thought 7 p.m. tonight, which, by the way, was 8 hours ago. I thought I'm going to sit down and I'm going to crack Mingles with Jingles out. And because you haven't had an episode of Mingles with Jingles in 2 weeks, unfortunately, I was in Russia last week. And you didn't get your Mingles with Jingles yesterday, because what you got yesterday was only supposed to be the first 8 or 9 minutes of Mingles with Jingles, but it just ended up taking forever. Unfortunately, we had some PC issues at home. Well, I say we. Rita had some PC issues, which pretty much means I have PC issues. And I've spent most of tonight sitting around looking very concerned and sympathetic at all the diagnostic screens. Just, so she felt that I was taking her problem seriously when I should have been doing Mingles with Jingles. And it is now 4:20 in the morning. And after I finish this, I have to get back to work on putting today's video out. So that's what you've got to look forward to from me. Today's video. Very soon.
Jingles,
you just re-upload this.
Do either of you have like a swag store like Fem and some of them have? People in chat asked if any of you guys have anything like that.
Yeah, I've got. In fact, we're busy relaunching it at the moment. There's a guy called Sammy Hallam who's very, very talented artist, and he's basically taken it upon himself to run my merchandise store. You can get T-shirts and hoodies and mugs and mouse mats and all sorts of stuff. And it's, I forget where it is, Teespring, I think. There's a link in the video description of all of my videos. Is merchandise and a link. One for North America, purely and simply so that you don't get overcharged for postage by ordering from the EU. One for EU as well. Sorry, Southeast Asia.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah. But yeah, the link is there, and we got some new products coming up. I don't know. I'll leave it all up to Sammy. I'll just take my percentage, and where you go, sort it out. Only come to me with the money. And, Sammy basically makes most of the money off it. They're his t-shirt designs. His artwork is fantastic. He's basically organised the whole thing. He's doing a fantastic job, and it's there in the link of the description of every video that I upload.
Excellent.
Then, Euro, do you have a marketplace also for people to be able to go get stuff?
No, not at this point. No, I haven't organized anything about that. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Not
One of the
really a
mods got extra
priority. Yeah, I think it's gonna be hard for me. Yeah, to get that sorted out, especially on where I live.
So what you're
Right.
saying
Quite far.
is, if anybody wants to help you out with the Teespring site in Europe and the US to bring in some extra revenue for Euro, because I'm pretty sure you may even have a Patreon, the man won't say no to money thrown his way. He's got to make up the bill for a taxi ride.
Actually, it's the taxi ride. For the cab fare, some people have give their bits on the stream, the Twitch
Aw.
stream. Yeah, I mean they have been really sympathetic to me as well. And then I do have a Patreon, but I don't have any. Actually, to be honest, I don't have any programs for the or benefits for the patrons. So
Mhm.
it's more like if you like my contents, you can support me from using Patreon. But what else? Yeah, I don't really have anything else apart from that. I try not to get too ahead of myself in terms of what kind of things that I could possibly bring to my viewers. So I'm gonna stick to YouTube to that's how I give my contents to them, and I'm gonna be staying like so for a while, not really taking any more, any more. What is it? Yeah, programs. I don't have the best vocabulary. Sorry.
Yeah, so you're
Yeah.
just mainly focused on the YouTube side of it, which is awesome. That's like one of the big reasons we wanted to get you guys on with us is we've talked a lot of the streaming side. We wanted to talk to guys who do the YouTube content now, the stuff that sticks around more than just once we log out and Twitch deletes it after 30 days. I mean, I think I'm up to view number 19 on how to Trump wagon at this point. So
Yeah. Well,
Thank you
High
for
Fire. What about you, man? What do you have going on right now?
Just wanted to do a quick comment here. When Yuro is actually talking here on Skype, we have a very different image coming up on us. I want to do a personal thank you for Yuro and Jingles for coming out onto the stream here and checking it out. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you guys.
I have been streaming to Facebook recently. This I think this came up in the last discussion too. We recently just hit over 500 followers and 300 likes on it. We're continuously going up there.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if it's an affiliation or a partnership, but I'm able to do monetary transactions through Facebook as well recently.
Oh,
So
nice.
next stream
awesome.
area, yeah, it's very, very similar to Bits here for Twitch. So I know Facebook is growing, and they're not as established as Twitch is, but Facebook is doing it. But I welcome anybody to come check out my stream over on Facebook. You're welcome to hang out and
I encourage it.
enjoy it. Thank you, guys.
Perfect. And then Hotel Kilo, what do you got going on, man?
Yeah, sure thing. So I stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday at 8 p.m. North American Central Time. Mostly World of Warships, a little bit of World of Warplanes and War Thunder. I also have to thank the mighty Jingles for getting me into Cold Waters and Helleborn.
You said a lot of addictions, sir. You're like a digital pusher.
But yeah, and as far as big things that are going on, we are about 90 followers short of my follower goal or follower giveaway, which is 500 followers. I'll be giving away a premium vehicle of the winner's choice from either World of Warships, World of Warplanes, World of Tanks, War Thunder, or a copy of Cold Waters on the Steam store, or a copy of Helleborn. Again, winner's choice. You do have to be following to win. #FlamuS. So That's the sell-up.
Did you just say
Emo.
Flamu's ass?
Flamu S.
Oh.
Flamu S.
Flamu
I'll
S.
put it in-
I thought you said Flamu's ass. I'm like,
There we
oh,
go.
okay, there we go. Makes so much
That's a-
sense when I
that's a
see the
great
emoji.
name.
I'm like,
And suddenly a wild new meme appears.
can we get that as an
Anyway.
emoji? A potato mooning us with its bare potato butt cheeks? I mean, it's a potato, so it's okay, right? Somebody please submit that to Flamu for his next emoji. Flamu's ass. Where everyone's lips are
Oh.
welcome.
Flamu will hear about this. Fatso Jesus is there in chat. All right.
Make it happen.
Anyway,
Is
Yeah,
Fatso,
so that's
Fatso,
going
are you one
on.
of his mods? Or is Fatso just
no,
a-
but he's a regular. He is a regular. And
Fatso,
tomorrow's
pass
Tone-
that on. The Shooting the Ship recommends a new emoji, Flamu ass, because everybody's lips are welcome to kiss it.
Anyway, that's what I got going on. Next, please.
All right, Kruger, what do you got going on, sir? What's up? What's new?
So we've got our normal streams here, guys. Sunday through Thursday. You guys can also catch me on Fridays over on the Defortification channel for a live stream D&D game where you will hear more dick and fart jokes than a Kevin Smith movie most nights.
Ain't that the truth?
Yep. We are actually High Fire, myself, Hotel Kilo, and Baron are working on actually starting to pre-plan more of these out a few months to try and get the more regular. We're trying to do it the first week of each month. The only one that'll probably be hard is September, when I'll be at PAX, hopefully having a pint or two tossed back with Fem and High Fire if High Fire shows up. Also, one other thing I wanted to throw out, guys, I don't have the definitive date yet, so make sure you follow it on Twitter or Lambo or Idio Machine. Next month, there will be another Operation Supply Drop charity stream. It has been confirmed. A new tank for troops. So they're going back to where it started with the World of Tanks one. So make sure that you guys, keep an eye out for that one. It's an amazing charity. I was going to wear my OSD Task Force shirt today, but it's dirty, so I couldn't wear it. Don't tell them to follow me. It's a horrible idea. Lambo is one of the executive moderators, and Idio Machine's their executive producer for streaming stuff. Other than that, we're tossing around the idea, and we want feedback, guys. So throw it out in one of our channels, so High Fire on Facebook, or yell at me or Hotel, about maybe doing a new show every 3 weeks, patching the hull or patching the ship, something like that, where we'll actually do patch rundowns and debate it with each other. Do we like the updates? Do we like the changes? Does it make us want to punch ourselves in the nuts? It was one that High Fire came up with, to try and get some more stuff out there for you and change it up from just gameplay, and give you guys a place to vent on what you like, and have a CC who can also share feedback back the other way. So that's what's going on here. After Baron does his, because we had some amazing, generous people gifting some subs, some great resubs, a ton of new follows. We're 15 away, by the way, from a giveaway. It'll be a $50 value to any of the 3 wargaming titles. So tanks, planes, or boats, whatever's your choice. You pick it. $50 less if it's a plane, a tank, premium time, one of the cargo crate bundles. Your choice when we hit the 50 follows. But what Baron's done, we have 3 beans, guys, and the wife came down and picked out 3 special ones. We've got strawberry jam or centipede we'll be eating, black licorice or skunk spray.
Ooh.
And then she said one to help clean my palate, either coconut or baby wipes. That one that sticks around for about 10 minutes after with the chemical flavor. So on Baron's done, we will go through those
Jingles
ones.
vomiting over here.
Jingles, so
Welcome to
being in
the
EU,
show.
forgive my stupidity, having never come across the pond. Do you have any idea what a skunk smells like?
No, thank God.
Okay. Because
I
this
know
tastes
that-
like a
I know that the-
concentrated flavor of it.
Yeah, I know that stuff stays with you for days, right? It's impossible to shower off.
Yeah, you have to tomato bath bathe 3 times usually to get rid of it. We're going to eat a
Wow.
jelly bean that might taste just like it. And I will try not to puke on stream.
So, Jingles,
You're a braver man than I am.
Jingles, and I suppose this applies to Euro as well. If you ever, for some reason, find yourself in North America, say in the upper Midwest or, the upper Rockies or the upper Northwest, and you run into a skunk, the trick is tomato paste, tomato soup. Bathe in tomato soup. That gets rid of it.
Hotel, how many times have you been sprayed?
twice.
Hey, Hotel,
He's
the
like-
trick is don't get that close.
He
Boom.
You know,
They do a little dance warning you first, sir. They're not asking you to cut a rug with them.
All right. Well, for myself, I'm usually the guy behind the scenes trying to make things work, do the artworks and such. So I'm doing my streams twice a week. I'm doing my art streams, creative, try to get those out at least Monday, Wednesdays. Then during the week, I work on getting out some gameplay streams. Friday nights on the Defortification channel, I am running the D&D game that Krigor plays in. So running those has been keep me pretty busy, and then trying to make sure everything on the defortification side runs well, smoothly, along with trying to keep my own channel afloat. So that's what I got going on.
Yeah, we run the poor guy ragged because he does the graphics for all of us. He does my emojis, my graphic backgrounds. He does it for all the guys that are part of his D4 crew. And he still has to find times to plan our Friday night D&D game. And now they just started one at a local gaming bar where he has to live stream for drunk people in a bar in front of other drunk people. And then he goes, I have no free time to go see a movie when we're all like, hey, you want to go do something? When? All right, we got that graphic done then. If you ain't got no free time, what you doing? And then he tries to stab us. It's horrible.
Dude, at Geeks and Glory, we had 12 players show up Sunday.
For 2 people to run it.
Yeah.
You've ever ran a D&D game.
Wow. Oh, yeah. It was a lot of fun.
12
So.
players. My
Yeah,
God.
12 players. And it's growing. All right, Krieger. Well, I guess it's time to go ahead and
Play
try
taste
those
that
beans,
ick.
sir.
All
Yep.
righty. So the first one, guys, it'll either be strawberry jam or centipede. What makes this one so horrible, the centipede flavor is pretty gnarly, but it's got crunchies in it that are either strawberry seeds or mentally, even though you know it's not it still makes you think you're crunching on the carapace of this bug, which just hits the gag reflex right away. So here's hoping that we've got some amazing Euro beat luck with us tonight, and we dodge this dirty torpedo I'm about to stick in my mouth. And guys, if you do exclamation bean, you'll see what we normally do them for in the channel during regular streams. We just had to offset it because we had some great guests, and we didn't want to spend the entire night just watching me gag on beans for 2 hours, like we do on a normal stream. Jingles is just like staring intently at the monitor, like, yeah.
I don't want to miss this.
Oh, and you're gonna hear it live.
What happened there?
That's a centipede.
That wasn't Mom's strawberry jam. Oh,
Nope.
I don't remember ever eating that in my lunch as a kid.
I'm sure
Maybe
you would have
once.
remembered.
All right. Next one, skunk spray or black licorice. This is one that usually causes me to pull a muscle. Get that fat kid cramp, maybe crack a rib. If Logar still Wakey's out
Jingles
there
crossing
chanting
his fingers.
hashtag still not peach, I don't know which one he's hoping for is the problem.
I'm hoping for the skunk spray, of course.
Okay.
Come on! Do it!
There's that muscle. Ooh, we should probably stretch before we do this. Ooh. Oh, hold up.
There's that ochre shade again.
All right, and then the one the wife said was to cleanse the palate because she loves me so much. You thought Rita was bad making you play games, sir. She doesn't make you eat these. All right, baby wipes or coconut. Here's hoping.
It's got to be the coconut. Come on. Come on.
No,
Nobody's
I will find a way to ship you some of these. These are the Bernie beans, I think, or Bernie bods, they call them over there in the UK. I can't remember the exact name you can buy them as. From the Harry Potter series, the joke
yes.
jelly beans. Yeah.
No.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, there's that cleansing flavor of the baby wipes.
Oh,
Oh.
no.
That baby powder goodness, just that effervescence moment. You crack open the new pack. Everybody out there that's a parent knows exactly what I'm talking about. And when you don't wash your hands enough, and then you go eat something, and it's just,
All three bad tonight.
oh.
Oh,
Three for
man.
three.
What were the odds?
I think the odds of getting a good one in an entire box is like 7%.
We celebrate when we get a good one. You know what? For everybody out there, we will do one last thing so everybody can see the way it normally looks on there. Give me a second here, guys. We have to add it. There it is. The bean wheel.
Oh,
This is what we normally do. We will
now.
do one normal bean wheel spin. That was the special box. Oh, we can't do that one for our special guest. We got to have something better than that. Toothpaste. Oh, God, it's that one.
Hashtag still not peach.
No. But I'll give our
Damn
panelists a choice. We could either do the stinky socks that taste like I just licked the bottom of a gym bag after twice a days for a football team, or I will pull out a hashtag still not peach. Panelists, what would you like to see?
Still not peach.
Hashtag still not peach.
Still
Yeah.
not peach.
Yeah.
Okay. Euro, your choice? You want to be a nice guy there? I think Euro got sick from watching that. Alrighty. They voted for hashtag still not peach, guys. So hashtag still not peach is the running joke of the channel. Because this one could either be vomit flavor. So barf. Now, think the night after eating a lot of pizza and drinking beer, when you have the icks the next day, that is exactly what this tastes like. Because that's what they were attempting to make was pepperoni pizza when they made this vomit flavor. Or it could actually taste like a really good juicy peach, like a jelly bean you just want to eat a ton of. That's why the running joke in the channel is hashtag still not peach. So let's see what we get, guys, for our final bean for the night. Oh. My kid heard hashtag still not peach and came running downstairs for this one.
It's still not peach.
Still not peach.
It's not peach. It is, in fact, a flavour best described as a pair of bums having sex in an old shoe full of piss.
Yes. That's exactly what it
Seems
tasted
good.
like. Old bums piss in a boot. I knew it wasn't going to be good after I got 2 peach flavors back to back the other night. I was like, what are the odds I'm going to get a 3rd peach in a row? Oh, it made my eyes water.
All right, folks. Well, that's it. It's time to pull into the harbor and put this ship to rest. Thank you all for joining us tonight on this episode of Shooting the Ship. If you aren't following already, hit the follow button, hit that subscribe button for each and every one of the panelists here. That way you can keep up to date on all the action with each and every one of them and catch all the future episodes of quality content.
Have a good night, folks. Thanks for joining us.
See you, folks.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you.
What would you do with the gun?